Welcome into the Steelers Talk live show presented by Prize Picks. I am your host, Jack Sperry. Thank you guys so much for joining me here on a Thursday evening to talk some Steelers football. Steelers training camp is right around the corner. The first Steelers training camp practice will be next Wednesday in Latrobe. Man, I just can't wait for football to officially be back. Today, we got a bunch of great content for you guys that I can't wait to share with you. First up, as always, we've got the latest Steelers news and rumors, the latest rumblings surrounding the black and gold. Then we'll get into my list of 8 make-or-break players in the Steelers starting lineup heading into the 2026 season. Then I'm going to be explaining why Patrick Graham will be bringing Blitzburgh back to the Steel City here in 2026. Then we'll take your questions in the weekly Steelers Talk mailbag. Then we get into our Week 17 Madden simulation this week versus the Tennessee Titans. Will Howard got his first win of his NFL career in Madden versus the Carolina Panthers last week. He will once again be the starting quarterback for this week's game. Now, if you guys want to get your question on the Steelers Talk mailbag, the real ones know what to do. Get your question down there in the live chat room by using hashtag Steelers. What I mean by that is use hashtag Steelers in your comments down in the live chat room for Ponzi to be able to see your question and for it to be eligible to be put on the mailbag. Also, you guys can super chat on today's show, any dollar amount, and you guys will be guaranteed to make it on the mailbag today. So if you really want your question answered, make sure you send in a super chat of some variety. You guys can also send in a donation to Venmo or PayPal. By the way, Venmo and PayPal questions get answered first because YouTube takes a 30% cut of every single super chat you guys send in. I didn't know if you guys know that. And Apple takes another 10%. So like almost half the money that you guys send in on super chats aren't going back to us here at Steelers Talk. But with Venmo and PayPal, we get to keep a lot more of the money that you guys actually donate to the channel. So if you guys want your donation dollars to go to a small company with us here at Steelers Talk at Chat Sports, or you guys could go to @Jack_Sperry or Jack-Sperry on Venmo or @CaptainJackRabbit on PayPal. Also, we do have a donation menu for you guys here today. Any donation you guys are going to get on screen. If you have a Steelers topic you want us to discuss, we will do that for you guys. Then $10, we'll get the terrible towels out for you and do some Here We Go Steelers'. $20, we'll put your name on the Steelers Talk gong. $50, we will bang for you, and we have the tortillas waiting here as well. So if you want to see me slap Ponzi, or if you want Ponzi to slap me, feel free to send in a $50, and then $100 total on the show. As always, you guys can become a Spare Dog for the 2026 NFL season, and there are certain perks of being a Spare Dog Club member. First of all, you get that Spare Dog sticker on all donations. It's kind of like that blue check mark, only for our channel here, and you guys get a signed Steelers Talk channel hat if you guys become a Spare Dog. Also, you get entered into every single raffle that we have throughout the course of this season. And what's cool about Spare Dog, guys, and Black Diamond is that if you're already a member, you can actually pay for somebody else's membership. So if you already have a membership, but there's somebody in the chat that you think is deserving of a membership, you can put in $100 and get them a Spare Dog membership as well. Now, before we get into the rest of our content here, I do want to give a special shout out here to our Black Diamonds. These are the people that have put in $500 or more on a singular Steelers Talk live stream. And part of the perks of being a Black Diamond is A, you get your own customized super chat sticker, and B, you get a shout out on every live show. So shout out to Sam Pugh, Elliptic 6, Kurgan Cold, Fernando Martin, Platinum 666, Hot Rod 24, Cassie Sperry, Patty Gustafson, Paranormal in the Funhouse, DJ KJ, Steelers Dad, Damian Roy, Kevin Reed, Dylan Lewandowski, Nico, Ollie the Reaper, Kurt Crater, Derek Smith, Kermit is my God, Donna Elliott, Brian Hagan, Chuck Dugan, Czar Craig, Rob Locke, Fluffy Locke, and of course, Gary Frank. Thank you to all of our Black Diamonds for supporting the show. They are really the lifeblood of this channel. Now, before we get into some of your super chat questions here to kick off the show, I want to tell you about a presenting sponsor here on Steelers Talk Live, which, as always, is Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app. Football season is nearly back, folks, and there isn't a better place to cash in on your football takes this season with our friends at Prize Picks. The app is really easy to use. Just pick more than or less than on a few player stat projections and then lock in your lineup. And while you wait for football to finally get back. PrizePicks has a number of other sports to choose from, like baseball and more, to enhance your sports viewing experience this summer as well. We can take a look at a season-long projection here on PrizePicks heading into this next football season, taking the more on passing touchdowns for Aaron Rodgers, as well as the more on rushing touchdowns for Rico Dowdle, and I'm taking the less on passing touchdowns for Lamar Jackson. This particular projection, guys, is a 6 times multiplier, which means you can win 6 times your money that you put in your entry fee if you can get all 3 correct in what PrizePicks calls a power play. So this particular projection, you put in $20 in an entry fee, you walk away with $120 in winnings if you get all 3 projections correct. Best of all, PrizePicks just switched their offer. All you have to do is play your first $5 lineup with code HMA, and if you win that lineup, you get $150 in additional lineups. Because of this new offer, there's not a better time to join right before the start of football season. So lock in and win that first lineup. One more time, that's code HMA at sign up and get $150 in bonus lineups if you win your first $5 lineup. Click the link in the comments and description to download the app today. As always, play responsibly. And a big thank you to PrizePicks for sponsoring Steelers Talk. All right. Let me just, what's that, Ponzi? What's that? Yep, sounds good. All right, I'll check my Slack here because Ponzi just sent me a message. And we can get to our first super chat of the day here, which is from Bernard Nixon. Says Evan Cohen said, A-Rod 4 MVPs don't matter. Don't matter in what context? Like, it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of the NFL pantheon, or it doesn't matter in 2026 when he's 42 years old. I think those are 2 different arguments, right?
I really do think, even if he did say, like, obviously at this age, yeah, of course it doesn't matter. Just like, Peyton Manning's MVPs didn't matter whenever he was with the Broncos in 2015. Like, I mean, they benched him for Brock Osweiler. Like you think, that was just because Peyton has MVPs, we shouldn't bench him. I mean, obviously, Aaron Rodgers is a legend. And, like, if the Steelers didn't feel like Aaron Rodgers wasn't the best path for them to succeed in 2026, they wouldn't have brought him back. And, like, that's just the simple fact of the matter. They wouldn't have brought him back to be the Steelers quarterback. And, as much as, I hated the saga just as much as y'all did, but, like, the fact of the matter is that there was no other veteran quarterback option that gave the Steelers any significant chance of winning more than Aaron Rodgers going into this season. It's just, I understand people are going to be like, they want the MVP Rodgers back, the washed whatever claims you want to go with. But the fact of the matter is that Steelers didn't have any help around Aaron Rodgers to really even have him have a decent to above average season with the Pittsburgh Steelers last year. They did the things that they needed to do this year. They, brought in weapons like Michael Pittman Jr. They drafted guys like Jeremy Bernard, and then, have Roman Wilson back in the role that, he can actually succeed in. I think, obviously, Mike McCarthy is going to, update this offense that we expect for him to. But, I mean, the Steelers did enough for them to try and build around Aaron Rodgers for this season, and that gives them the best shot, in my opinion, and I'm pretty sure Sperry would agree with that, to win in the 2026 season. Like, I understand, we're tired of it. We're tired of the veteran quarterback option, but, Cam Hayward only maybe have one more season left in him. It's just, it's the fact of the matter.
Yeah, it's definitely coming to a close here for a couple of Steelers players, but yeah, man, I think that, it's just the way that things go, right? You get older and, father time comes for everybody, and sometimes it comes in phases. Sometimes it hits you like a brick wall. Hopefully it's coming, in just phases here for guys like Hayward and Rodgers heading into this season. But yeah, man, I think that 4 MVPs definitely matter if we're going to be talking about just the grand scheme of things in NFL history. Don't know how that doesn't matter. But then $2 here.
That's the only one.
That's the only one that we have so far. Okay. Sounds good. Well, if you guys want to actually help out the channel in a different way that doesn't, have to do anything with like donations or super chats or anything like that, but you want a piece of Steelers apparel right before the start of the season this year, you guys can actually check out our merch collection that we have up on our website right now, where we've got a bunch of t-shirts, we've got mugs on there, we've got a bunch of stuff. So whatever you want to add to your arsenal here just before the start of the 2026 NFL season, you guys can go to chatsports.com/ST merch, get your F the Ravens t-shirt. If you guys want one of those, we have just regular channel t-shirts on there. We've got our Pittman t-shirts on there as well. We got our Jennings Dunker mugs. We've got Married Into This gear. We got a bunch of stuff up on our website right now. So if you guys want to help support the show, get a little bit of gear before the start of the season, you guys can go chatsports.com/STmerch to get yours today. All right, man. Well, if no more super chats are going to come in, let's get into our first segment of the day here, guys. We got a bunch of great stuff coming your way. We got 4 segments and a Madden stream, so we got a lot of stuff to get into. So we're going to get into our first segment of the day here, which is the latest Steelers news and rumors. Then we'll get into some make or break candidates for the Steelers this season. I'm going to tell you why Blitzburgh will be returning this year under new defensive coordinator Patrick Graham. Then we'll answer your questions on the Steelers Talk mailbag. Again, use hashtag Steelers or Super Chat to get your questions on the mailbag here today. Without further ado, let's get into our first segment of the day, the latest news and rumors surrounding the black and gold. You are watching Steelers Talk by Chat Sports, presented by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is a brand new projection right now, guys, where your promotion where you guys can get $150 in bonus lineups here. If you guys play your first $5 lineup, you use code HMA and you win that first lineup. So make sure you get that done right now on the Prize Picks app. And on tonight's show here on Steelers Talk, we have a lot to talk about. There's a Steelers insider that is speculating that Alex Highsmith might make things difficult once we get to Steelers training camp next week and might hold in and not practice while he's in Latrobe. I'm going to break that down at the top of the show here. Then we'll get into some conflicting reporting from some team insiders as to which players the Steelers might restructure their contracts heading into the season. Then make sure you guys stick around because ESPN might have had their most ridiculous take yet when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers heading into the 2026 season. So let's jump right in to our first news and rumors topic of the day here, guys, where the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette's Ray Filipaldo says that he could see Alex Highsmith holding in at Steelers training camp looking for either A, a new contract and more money, or B, a trade to a different team. That would then give him the new contract and the more money. This is what Ray Filipaldo had to say here recently. He says, I don't know this, I'm just speculating, but would anyone be surprised if Alex Highsmith showed up to Steelers training camp and didn't practice just to prove a point? Right? Like, hey, Nick Herbig is making $21 million a year. I'm making 14, and I'm a starter. I wouldn't be surprised if Highsmith did that, but I wouldn't expect the Steelers to cave either because Alex Highsmith has 2 years left on his contract, and you can't just give in every situation where a player is unhappy. Now, listen, man, as much as I would love to say that there's a 0% chance of this happening when we get to Latrobe next week, I can't fully rule out this scenario for the Pittsburgh Steelers and Alex Highsmith in the first week or maybe in the first few weeks of NFL of training camp there in Latrobe. You guys can take a look here at the annual earnings of each edge rusher here in the Pittsburgh Steelers starting rotation here, where TJ Watt's making $41 million this season, right? That was a big contract. Then you give Nick Herbig $25 million a year on his latest extension, and then Alex Highsmith right now is at 17 on his latest contract that he signed with the extension he got a few years ago. So right now Alex Highsmith is a starter, but he's going to be expected to do a starter's workload while making less than the guy that is technically his backup in this defense. And you could see how Highsmith could twist this into being, a problem for him. And, if he makes a stink, this would really suck. It really would. Like, you really, really hope that Alex Highsmith is just going to be cool playing on the contract that he's currently on and that he signed a few years back. And he's got 2 years left on his deal, man. It's not really the timing to kind of be asking for more money or anything like that. But it's definitely a possibility because Herbig is making more than him, and Highsmith is expected to be ahead of him on the depth chart. So I could see where Alex could be like upset about that. But listen, man, Pittsburgh's three-headed monster at outside linebacker should be this team's bread and butter. Like we talked about it in our positional tier rankings video earlier in the week. This is one of the only positions I had at the S tier. I think that this is one of the best things about the Pittsburgh Steelers roster this year. And if this defense is going to be really special, I think a big reason for that is TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, and Nick Herbig as a trio needs to be a really special unit heading into the season. And if I had to guess right now, I will say that I don't think Alex is going to hold in. And the reason why I say that is that, yes, he actually sat out a couple days of OTAs because he was sick. He eventually did come back, though, and finished OTAs even after Nick Herbig got his extension done. So right now there's no real indication that Alex Highsmith is going to make a stink of things at Steelers training camp and hold in, but it is a possibility after Nick Herbig got his massive extension this offseason. Now, coming up here on Steelers Talk, going to be talking about TJ Watt and DK Metcalf. Which one should the Pittsburgh Steelers restructure if they want to restructure a veteran contract to open up some more cap space this year? Going to be breaking down the very latest on that here in just one moment. But before we get into that, let's talk about a season-long projection on TJ Watt that I think you guys should absolutely be getting in on here, which is to take the more on sacks for his season-long total here. PrizePicks has him at 10 3/4 sacks for the season, and last year obviously he only had 7, but now with Patrick Graham coming in, hopefully Watt can stay more healthy than he's been over the last several seasons. And I do think that with Patrick Graham coming in, he's going to have more one-on-one opportunities. I think he's going to have a true bounce-back season this year, which is why I'm taking the more on his total sacks this year. I think you should too. You can pair this up with a couple other season-long projections on the PrizePicks app, like passing touchdowns for Aaron Rodgers, I should say. Take the more on that, then take the less on passing touchdowns for, say, Lamar Jackson. And that would be a 6 times multiplier. So you guys can put in, say, a $20 entry fee, walk away with $120 in winnings if you guys get all 3 projections correct. And honestly, guys, I would highly recommend that you guys get in on Flex Fridays every single Friday on the PrizePicks app. Every Friday, users can opt into Flex Friday from the rewards tab and apply a protected play to one Flex Play lineup. If the lineup wins, it pays out normally. If the lineup loses, PrizePicks refunds the entry as bonus lineup, which allows the users to run it back without risking additional funds. And best of all, guys, PrizePicks just switched their offer really recently. All you have to do is play your first $5 lineup with code HMA, and if you win that first lineup, you get $150 in additional lineups. Because of this new offer, there's not a better time to join the PrizePicks app right now, right before the start of football season. So lock in and win that first lineup. One more time, that's code HMA at sign up and get $150 in bonus lineups if you play your first $5 lineup. Click the link in the comments and description to download the app today. As always, please play responsibly, and a big thank you to PrizePicks for sponsoring Steelers Talk. Now, 2 weeks ago, guys, Mark Kaboly asserted that Pittsburgh was certainly going to restructure edge rusher TJ Watt's contract heading into the year to create more cap space heading into the season. This is what Kaboly had to say a couple of weeks ago. He said the Steelers have to restructure TJ Watt. They can get a bunch of money. They're going to need money to give JPJ, right? Plus, they have to pay the practice squad guys and all of the ancillary stuff. You can always create money. You can absolutely assure yourself that Watt is going to get restructured here in the next month before they extend Joey Porter Jr. But we've actually gotten some conflicting reports here as Penn Live's Nick Farabaugh, who's been on the show before, by the way, disputes Mark Kaboly's assertion that Pittsburgh is for sure going to restructure TJ Watt's contract and instead suggests the team should restructure DK Metcalf's contract. This is what Farabaugh had to say. I'm not even sure they are going to restructure TJ Watt. I would be surprised. Next year, they need flexibility, and you don't want to just handcuff yourself and make it have to be about Alex Highsmith. If you have an option where a team calls and wants TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith is continuing to build on a really impressive last year, you want to keep all those avenues open. Restructuring TJ Watt is a really, really dangerous move. They won't work that out with Watt. I don't think they go to Alex Highsmith either and work his. I think they're going to go to DK Metcalf, and DK Metcalf should be enough to get a Joey Porter Jr. deal done and even a Keanu Benton deal underneath of that. So personally, guys, I'm with Nick Farabaugh on this one. I think that it makes a lot more sense to try and restructure DK Metcalf as opposed to TJ Watt because, as Nick mentioned, you want to keep your options open when it comes to TJ Watt, because there are certain scenarios here where TJ Watt continues his physical regression and he's just not worth the money that the Pittsburgh Steelers are paying him, and Alex Highsmith continues to play really well, and you're going into next offseason with TJ Watt being the one that you're trying to offload in some capacity. But if you restructure his contract, that's going to raise his cap hit and his dead cap number a lot for next offseason, and you don't want to lose that flexibility possibility, all right? If you have to get rid of TJ Watt next offseason, you want to make it as little as possible. You want to make the pain for that be as little as possible. And restructuring him pretty much makes that an impossibility and pretty much locks him in here in Pittsburgh for at least one more season before you could realistically unload him, which is not something that I would be willing to do if I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers after what we saw from Watt last year from a production standpoint. Also, you don't need to restructure really anyone to pay Joey Porter Jr. or Keanu Benton a big contract extension. Now, you might be saying at home, but Jack, the Steelers don't have the cap space this year, and you'd be right about that, right? You got $5.9 million, a little bit more than that, a little bit, just about $6 million left in 2026 cap space as it stands right now. And when you take account to all the other costs that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to have to make for the rest of the offseason, workout bonuses, you have to add a 52nd and 53rd player to the active roster, right? You got to, assign Drew Aller. That still has to happen here, and you got to pay practice squad people. The estimated cost of that is around $5.5 million, and with the $6 million the Steelers currently have, obviously that doesn't leave a whole lot of 2026 cap space to work with here after those costs come down. So the thing is, though, guys, Pittsburgh structures their extensions so that the larger cap hits don't kick in until the following year. That's the way it worked with Nick Herbig's deal, Darnell Washington's deal. That's just the way the Pittsburgh Steelers do business. So they could theoretically get deals done with Joey Porter Jr. and Keanu Benton, and their bigger cap hits don't really change until next year. This is essentially the way that it would work. So the Steelers can make it work if they want to, as it stands right now. But if you do want to create some space, I do think that restructuring DK Metcalf could make some sense. You certainly feel better about DK for sure being on this team in 2027 as opposed to TJ Watt, who showed signs of regression last year. So I just think DK Metcalf is probably the better bet. So if the Steelers are looking to restructure somebody before the start of the season, I do think the Steelers will probably restructure somebody, at least to some degree. I think DK Metcalf definitely makes more sense than TJ Watt. Now, coming up next here on Steelers Talk, ESPN just wrote an article that was probably the most disrespectful to the Pittsburgh Steelers heading into this season as anyone that they have read that they have written all throughout the offseason to this point. And you guys are going to see here in a second why that's not hyperbole. But before we get into the rest of today's show, I want to tell you about our other sponsor here on Steelers Talk, which is SeatGeek. The Steelers' 2026 schedule is now set, and tickets for every Steelers game this season is now available for purchase on the SeatGeek app. Just use code CHAT10 to get 10% off your next set of tickets. When you're maneuvering the SeatGeek app, guys, you're going to see a menu like this for the Pittsburgh Steelers where you guys can just scroll down to the game that you guys want to go to. Then you click into it. It's going to show you the stadium view and the best possible seats, the best value tickets that are available on their site. Then when you click into a specific seat, you're going to see the view from your seat, so there's no surprises when you show up to the stadium. You get all the relevant information about those seats so you guys can make the best possible decision for you and your family. Whether it's a baseball game at beautiful PNC Park with the kids this summer or an Ed Sheeran concert with the wife, SeatGeek has your back. Each ticket is rated on a value scale of 1 to 10, so you know you're getting a good deal. Look for the green dots. Green means good. Red obviously means bad. And of course, I have a code for you guys to get an even better deal. Use code CHAT10 for 10% off your next set of tickets on SeatGeek. One more time, that's 10% off any tickets with promo code CHAT10. Make sure you click the link in the description, download the app, and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later on. And a big thank you to SeatGeek for sponsoring today's edition of Steelers Talk. Now, here we go again, Steelers fans. ESPN just released their list of quote-unquote blue-chip NFL players heading into the 2026 NFL season that are under the age of 25, okay? And ESPN ranked the Pittsburgh Steelers 28th in this category and gave the Steelers 0 players in the quote-unquote blue-chip category, where they feel like the players under 25 are really, really good players, right? And they left out 2 very key players that are under 25 on this roster, Nick Herbig and Derek Harmon. Now, listen, man, if they had a super-duper high standard of production to be labeled a quote-unquote blue chip, it would be one thing, but this article lists a bunch of players that both Herbig and I would argue Harmon are better than heading into this season, had better seasons last year. All right, you look at this list here, all these players were listed as quote-unquote blue chips by ESPN. Jonas Sanker from New Orleans, are you kidding me? Jonas Savanaia, we're going to talk about him in detail here in a second. He was terrible. Donovan Jackson and Dallas Turner have not really done a whole lot in the league in Minnesota. Marius Mims has given up pressure like crazy at right tackle in Cincinnati. Jalen Walker had a pretty decent rookie season, but is he better than Nick Herbig? No way. Josh Conley Jr. of the Washington Commanders had a really struggle-filled rookie campaign in Washington last year. Michael Williams was pretty much injured the entire season. He's a blue chip, but Nick Herbig is not. Deion Walker, who I would argue didn't have as good of a season as Derek Carman last year, he gets listed here. And then rookie quarterback Ty Simpson, who's going to be their backup quarterback at best, is listed as a blue chip. And the one that really offends me, guys, if I'm being completely honest with you, is the Jonah Savanaia pick for the Miami Dolphins, because he was probably the worst guard in the entire National Football League in 2025, and there's really not a whole lot of reason to think that he's going to magically turn it around heading into 2026, but he gets listed as a blue chip player by ESPN, but Nick Herbig, one of the best pure edge rushers in the league in terms of rushing the passer, can't make the list, right? This is what PFF had to say about Jonah Savanaia after last season. Last year, Savanaia's 28.4 overall PFF grade was the worst among any qualified guard by almost 9 grading points. In fact, that mark carries historical perspective. It's easily the lowest in a season by any guard to play 950 or more snaps in the 20 years of PFF data. Not only did Savanaia permit 8 sacks and 45 pressures, but he also played to a poor 37.3 PFF run blocking grade. So you have the worst starting guard in the National Football League listed as a blue chip, but the guy that led the league last year in pass rush win rate in Nick Herbig at 26.3%. Can't make the list? What are we doing, ESPN? This is the most disrespectful thing I think I've ever seen. And if this doesn't prove, guys, that ESPN has an anti-Steelers bias, I don't know what will, all right? Because you have somebody that just got paid $100 million on his latest extension in Nick Herbig, still under 25, by the way. That is absolutely incredible what he's accomplished in this league before turning 25. But when we're listing blue chip players under 25, Nick Herbig doesn't get a mention, doesn't get that blue chip status that the worst starting guard in the entire National Football League gets. That is just absolutely crazy. ESPN, you got to check yourself on this one, man. All right, well, it's time for the question of the day. I'm a little riled up here, guys, but let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. Nick Herbig will be an all-pro at some point in his career. Do you think that statement is true, type T, or do you think that statement is false, type F, if you think Herbig's a good player but won't be an all-pro at some point in his career? Now, make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already to finish up today's show. We're going to continue to get you guys Steelers news and rumors analysis every single day, every time a player gets linked to the Steelers in a trade, when there's a free agency rumor out there. Of course, we'll have training camp practice updates every single day from Latrobe as well. And my goal, guys, is to get to 120,000 subscribers before training camp starts. And the first practice begins next Wednesday. We're only 233 subscribers away from reaching that goal, so I'd greatly appreciate it if you like the videos that we provide for you guys here on YouTube. If you guys click that subscribe button, it's free to do so. You join the largest Steelers news and rumors community anywhere here on YouTube, so I'd greatly appreciate it if you click that subscribe button and join our family. All right, first segment in the books here, ladies and gentlemen. Coming up next is our next segment, which is 8 players on the 2026 Steelers roster that I think are heading into make or break seasons. Also coming up, I'm going to be explaining why Patrick Graham is going to be bringing Blitzburgh back to the Steel City. And, of course, we'll answer your questions here on the Steelers Talk live mailbag. And then, of course, later in the show here to finish things out, we have our Week 17 Madden sim versus the Tennessee Titans here. So, Ponzi, do you actually want to take over here for a second? Let them know how they can get on the mailbag and all that great stuff.
All right, 1 second.
Because I gotta continue to do some stuff here.
Gotcha.
So Ponzi's going to walk you guys through how you can get on the mailbag here, where you guys can donate on Venmo or PayPal, and all that great stuff here. So I'll be back in 1 second.
Change my tag. Oh, my goodness. The best here. All right, guys, if you want to get on the show, use hashtag Steelers in the live chat, and that is in one word. So hashtag Steelers, just the way it's formatted right here. Otherwise, it won't pull on my software here, and I can't get your question on. Excuse me. Or if you want to super chat, once again, not required by any means, but if you want to super chat and get on the mailbag, you have a question that you're dying for Sperry to answer, you can super chat down below and have your question. But, I mean, it's going to be right now, You have a great chance with hashtag Steelers, so get your hashtag Steelers questions in there down below. I see Mike Nintendo Master getting one down there. I see Steve Stockman getting one down there. I see Devone getting one down there. Dave A. Just continue getting your hashtag Steelers questions. Whether that be, what do you think about Aaron Rodgers heading into 2027 or 2026? What do you think about the edge rusher room? Do you think Alex Highsmith gets traded? Sperry will answer all down below, and just make sure you get hashtag Steelers and any variation. That way I can get you on my software here. Steel Buckeyes, does Ponzi ever shave his beard? Love it, though. I'm actually due for a haircut next week. So you will see my beard get shaved down a little bit. I usually like to let it grow out so that way I can style my hair differently with my barber, just so I can get my curls done. But my beard definitely needs a trim. Very bad.
But will you be here for the live show next week? We'll be going live, by the way, guys. The next time we'll be live is next Monday, all right? Because I'm traveling to Pittsburgh.
I will be here next Monday.
On Tuesday. So you will be here for the live show next Monday?
Yes, but I won't have the haircut by then. I'm getting it scheduled for Thursday.
All right, cool. So, again, guys, if you have a question that you want to get on the show, happy to answer any and all Super Chat questions. And then if you guys get hashtag Steelers questions in there, right now I think we only have one Super Chat question that's been asked. So I think that this is a fantastic opportunity.
It wasn't even a question.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's wide open right now for you guys to get on the show for free using hashtag Steelers. But, of course, we appreciate Super Chat donations, and we also appreciate Venmo and PayPal donations as well, guys. Get your questions answered first, and if you want more of your donation dollars to go to us here at Steelers Talk instead of Google and Apple, you can send in your donation dollars to Venmo at Jack-Sperry on Venmo or at Captain Jackrabbit on PayPal. We also have a number of promotions going on right now on the donation menu where any Super Chat gets on the screen. $10, we'll wave the terrible towels around. $20, you get your name on the Steelers Talk gong. $50, we got tortilla slaps. And then, of course, $100 total. You guys get into the Spare Dog Club for the season. So if no Super Chats have come in, man, I think it's about time. Oh, we do have a Super Chat here.
Steel Buckeyes. Maybe not this year, but maybe we could try to figure out something next year for us to have like a live show at Latrobe or something like that. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean that's the logistics of that are tough. You have to get the Steelers' permission.
Yeah, that's just
true. Like, there's a lot of different things that go into that. I just don't think that that's going to be something that happens. Like, we're not the Pat McAfee show, right?
Yeah.
We're like, we don't have connections to the Steelers, and
we don't have ESPN giving us $60 million.
Yeah, and we don't have security, and all these different things that we would need, and it's just a hassle, right? So we'll probably not do a show in Latrobe, honestly.
I wasn't saying like in Latrobe, but like the hotel or something like that.
Like honestly, like. Yeah, like in a bar, like we could do something in a bar, something that, maybe is a little bit more secure, something where we probably have a little bit more access. We can look at something maybe next year to do something at a bar or, or a restaurant or something like that. But probably not at Steelers training camp. I don't think we'd get permission to do that. But we do have a $5 Super Chat here from Holden Monroe. My man says, what top 3 things are you most interested to see at camp? Well, obviously the backup quarterback competition is going to be just fascinating. Drew Aller, going to see him for the first time in person. Will Howard, the same thing, really. I mean, we saw him a little bit in training camp last year, but then he hurt his thumb or his finger. I don't think it was his thum. It was just like a finger jammed it really bad. It broke it. And he missed time, right, obviously, in the preseason. Didn't even play a single preseason game, unfortunately, for him. But it'll be good to see Will and see kind of how he looks. It'll be good to see where Drew is at in his development as well. Another thing I'm really excited to see is actually Caleb Johnson. Caleb just has a massive preseason coming up here where, like, if he plays well, I could see anything for Caleb as high as, like, he earns the running back 2 job eventually this season over Rico Dowdle to he gets cut at the end of the preseason. Like, I
wouldn't be surprised if someone trades a 5th-round pick
for him. The outcomes for him are so vast and wide, in my opinion. It'll be interesting to see how Caleb does in the first week of practices. But again, there's not going to be any pads for the first week, so it's going to be really hard to tell exactly how the run game is doing in week 1.
Especially with the offensive line, too. That would be the one thing I would be looking forward to see what's going on with the offensive line. But, I mean, like, these guys aren't going to be wearing pads.
Exactly. And then the third thing I would say I'm looking for, Holden, is the defense and what it looks like, because I'm really excited to see what Patrick Graham's defense is going to look like. We're going to talk about it later in the show and why I think it's going to be a very blitz-heavy unit. And just to see the mind games being played between that defense versus Aaron Rodgers in the offense, who's obviously an incredibly high football IQ dude. I just think it's going to be awesome, man. There's going to be so many moving parts. I think they're going to be sending sim pressures. I think there's going to be post-snap rotations. I think there's going to be a lot of fun things about this Steelers defense. And I think the battle between the defense and the offense is definitely going to be something that's fun to watch with the first team group. All right, let's get into our second segment of the day here, guys, which is make or break players. There's 8 players on the Steelers roster that I think, are going to have at least a rotational role on this team. There's no backups on this list. 8 starters or rotational players that I think are going into make or break seasons with their time with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So without further ado, let's get into that right now. Welcome in to Steelers Talk by Chat Sports, presented by Prize Picks. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. And on today's show, we're going to be breaking down 8 Steelers players heading into the 2026 NFL season that I think are entering a make-or-break season. Now, defining a make-or-break season is kind of like, if they don't perform this year, they're either going to lose their starting job or they're just not going to be on this team moving forward. So definitely the pressure is on for these 8 players. So we'll start here with Caleb Johnson. Now, this is my one kind of caveat where it's like Caleb is technically a backup, but I do think that he has a chance to earn himself at least a rotational spot in this running back rotation if he plays well during the preseason and during the year itself. And personally, guys, I'm not giving up on Caleb Johnson just yet. All right, I think last year there was just a really unique situation where, of course, you have Jaylen Warren, but then Kenny Gainwell, who was playing for close to the vet minimum, turned into the team MVP. So there just wasn't a lot of room for Caleb Johnson to actually get playing time for the Pittsburgh Steelers last year outside of special teams, and we all know how that ended up for KJ. So this year, there's going to be an opportunity in training camp, in the preseason games, to really show what he can do, and he could really solidify his future with this team this year. He's still a very young person, and he's still very talented, right? So he could be that long-term, early down, innings eater type of running back to pair with Jaylen Warren for the future if he proves it this year, but he's going to have to earn everything, right? You bring in Rico Dowdle, a veteran running back, for a reason. It's because he's insurance. If Caleb Johnson isn't going to perform this year, you don't want to be stuck with just Jaylen Warren and then nobody else to help him out, right? So you bring in Rico Dowdle as insurance, as a really good, solid running back option that's had a lot of success in this league, back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, but you're still keeping the door open for Caleb Johnson, his talent, to shine through after an offseason really settling in here in Pittsburgh. But plain simply, guys, if Caleb Johnson disappoints yet again this season, he may be gone. There's even people, keeping him off of their 53-man roster projections and think the Steelers will just trade or cut him before the start of this season. I don't think that's going to happen, but it does remain a possibility. I think Caleb Johnson is one of those guys that has a very high variance of outcomes this year. He could be as good as he's the starting number 2 running back by the end of this season. It could get that high, or it could get as low as he doesn't even make it to the season on the Steelers roster. So I think Caleb Johnson is one of the very fascinating stories here in Pittsburgh. Can't wait to see how that unfolds during training camp. But then Rico Dowdle will also make this list because Caleb Johnson is right behind him, and he is looking essentially to take his job, not only this season, but in future seasons, guys. And let's face it, at 28 years old, it's not like the Steelers are bringing in Rico Dowdle to be a starting running back for the next 5 years. This isn't necessarily a long-term play at the running back position for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And frankly, Dowdle's been pretty inconsistent. These were his last 8 games to finish the regular season last year in Carolina in terms of his total rushing yardage. He had a really great stretch in the middle of last season in Carolina, which really helped him get to 1,000 yards for a second straight season. But he went pretty much the entire second half of the year without getting more than 60 rushing yards in a game. So it's are we going to be getting the guy that kept on getting 100-plus yard performances in the middle of last season, or are we going to get this version of Rico Dowdle where he's just not a very dynamic piece in the running back room? Now, listen, man, if Caleb Johnson balls out, Dowdle's in trouble because of the age factor, also with the money factor here. I mean, Dowdle's contract is very pliable, and if we get to next offseason and, the Steelers could really use $6 million in additional cap space and Caleb Johnson looks like he's a legitimate option at the second running back spot, the Steelers could very easily just release Rico Dowdle next offseason, and that's the way that they move forward with this running back room heading into the 2027 campaign. But if Caleb Johnson disappoints again and he's not an NFL running back, Dowdle is a very solid starting caliber running back option, right? You pair him up with Jaylen Warren. Dowdle will be the early down kind of innings eater type of guy, very tough, very smart rusher that should help you in cold weather games, etc. And then Jaylen Warren is more of that pass catching, type of third down back that, he's been doing all his career, and he's been fantastic at it. If you guys want to check out my deep dive on Rico Dowdle, his skill set, his pros, his cons, what he brings to the table, you guys can check out our deep dive on him. That's already on the channel. I'll put the chip to that one in the top right so you guys can check that out. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. Who's getting yeeted off of this Steelers roster first? Is it Caleb Johnson type KJ, or do you think it's Rico Dowdle type RD? If you think Dowdle will be out of here before Caleb Johnson, this will be the pinned comment on today's show, so make sure you guys go answer that right now. Well, I tell you about our presenting sponsor here on Steelers Talk, which is Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app. Football season is nearly back, guys, and there isn't a better place to cash in on your football takes this season with our friends at Prize Picks. The app is really easy to use. You just pick more than or less than on a few player stat projections and then lock in your lineup. And they even have weekly promotions like Flex Fridays, where you guys can opt into Flex Friday from the rewards tab and apply a protected play to one flex play lineup on Fridays. And if that lineup wins, it pays out normally. But if the lineup loses, Prize Picks refunds the entry as bonus lineups, allowing users to run it back without risking additional funds. So, for example, you can take a look at next year's football season-long projection. You can take the more on passing touchdowns for Aaron Rodgers, the more on sacks for Jalen Ramsey, and the more on rushing touchdowns for Lamar Jackson. And with the 6 times multiplier, you guys could turn $10 in an entry fee into $60 in winnings if you get your projection correct. And best of all, guys, Prize Picks just switched their offer. All you have to do is play your first $5 lineup with code HMA, and if you win that lineup, you get $150 in additional lineups. Because of this new offer, there's not a better time to join right before the start of football season, so lock in and win that first lineup. One more time, that's code HMA at sign up and get $150 in bonus lineups if you win your first $5 lineup after using code HMA. Click the link in the comments and description to download the app today. As always, play responsibly, and a big thank you to Prize Picks for sponsoring Steelers Talk. Continuing on with our list here, and this one might surprise some people, but yes, Michael Pittman Jr. is entering a make-it-or-break-it season here in Pittsburgh. And to be clear, I think MPJ is going to play really well this year. I think that he is a very talented individual. I think he fits what the Steelers offense wants to do to a T, but the pressure is on to perform for him, specifically because of his contract and the financial kind of situation that he is in going into next offseason, because he's a pretty hefty price tag against the cap heading into 2027. So he's got to be worth that, essentially, and he's going to have to show that worth with his play on the field here in Pittsburgh in 2026. And plain simply, guys, Pittsburgh's going to have to find ways to save cap dollars next spring in some capacity, okay? Right now, the Steelers have less than $5 million in available 2027 cap space. In fact, they actually have more cap space for this season than next season at this current point in time, and that's before potential extensions get done with guys like Joey Porter Jr. and Keanu Benton. If you get a deal done with one of them, let alone both of them, you are going to be in the red against the cap heading into next offseason. You're going to have to find ways to get back in the black and sign more players in free agency, etc. And Pittsburgh can save up to $18.5 million in cap next year if they release Michael Pittman Jr. on a post-June 1st designation. So that's obviously a lot of money. And if it makes sense for the Pittsburgh Steelers, maybe MPJ has an okay season but not a great season, and it makes sense to let him go, that is something that the Pittsburgh Steelers might consider doing, especially with Michael approaching his age 30 season here pretty darn soon. Second of all, Jeremy Bernard may prove himself as a legitimate wide receiver 2 option, and the Steelers may feel like, hey, we got DK Metcalf and we got Jeremy Bernard as our future wide receiver 2. We don't necessarily need Michael Pittman Jr. here, and we feel like we'd rather have the $18.5 million in cap space as opposed to Michael Pittman Jr. coming back for another season. Also, every single draft class is absolutely loaded with cheap wide receiver talent. So you could move Jeremy Bernard into that wide receiver 2 spot and take Michael Pittman's job here in the Steelers offense. And then you draft a very talented wide receiver, maybe in the earlier rounds of next year's NFL draft. And then you've got DK, Jeremy, And, I'm sure Roman Wilson, maybe he's going to be a part of this solution in the future. Maybe he's not. But then you can supplement this position once again in the NFL draft in the early rounds. And listen, man, unless MPJ really balls out this year, which I think he's got a chance of doing, by the way. I think Michael Pittman Jr. is a really good receiver. I'm glad the Pittsburgh Steelers brought him in this year. I think he and Rodgers are going to click because of how smart he is, but he is vulnerable, and he's going to have to really live up to the hype this year if he's going to be worth the cap hit that he's slated to get in 2027. So definitely rooting for Michael Pittman Jr., but the pressure is on for him. And if you guys want to check out my deep dive on Michael Pittman Jr., once again, we did a deep dive on him and his skill set, the pros, the cons, the scouting report, all that great stuff. Once again, I'll put the chip in the top right if you want to check out that particular video. Moving on here to another receiver that's in a make it or break it season, Roman Wilson. Now third-year player out of Michigan, and he frankly didn't do anything in his first 2 years here in Pittsburgh. He had an awesome opportunity last year to get a lot of playing time and show what he could do, and he just couldn't get on the same page with Aaron Rodgers. In fact, it got to such a poor point where Rodgers was like, I'd rather have MVS and Adam Thielen, two guys that were absolutely cooked to throw the ball to, as compared to Roman Wilson, who wasn't running his routes on time. He would get out physicaled, playing on the outside. Press coverage was really an issue for him last season, and, it definitely showed. But now Mike McCarthy and this new coaching staff is moving him to the position that he should have been playing all along. I think Roman Wilson was a classic Mike Tomlin, Arthur Smith miscasting because they tried to play him as an outside receiver. And I said coming out of Michigan, this guy is a slot-only guy. He can be successful in that role, but he really is a slot-only dude. And that's exactly what it sounds like the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to do with him this year. So I think that this year he's got a chance, especially with how hard he works, to really have that mini breakout season. I'm not expecting anything crazy from Roman Wilson, but I do think that there's a solid chance he can be a really nice rotational fourth piece in this wide receiver lineup, be a deep threat from the slot, run crossers, be a reliable option for the Steelers as their fourth piece in this wide receiver room. If that happens, he can probably stick around. If not, it's going to be bye-bye for Roman Wilson here in Pittsburgh. Then we get to Peyton Wilson, another guy with the last name Wilson that was drafted in the same exact draft class. In fact, Wilson was the draft pick right after if the Steelers took Roman. And kind of like Roman, Peyton has just not been inconsistent throughout the course of his career. I think he's got the highest ceiling of any linebacker in the Steelers linebacker room right now, and that includes Patrick Queen. I think that Peyton Wilson's athleticism, really puts his ceiling and his potential really, really high, and he could be a future legitimate number one linebacker in this league. However, he just needs to be way more consistent. Even going back to college at NC State, he wasn't the best run defender, and you were hoping to see steps in progression in the pros, and you just haven't seen that. He's in the wrong gap consistently. He gets blown off, and he can't get off blocks. And even in pass coverage at times, which is supposed to be his thing, he's not always in the right position. So he just needs to be more consistent as an inside linebacker in this league. Now, the good news is Patrick Graham knows how to coach inside linebackers, all right? He helped turn Robert Spillane, who, if you remember, was a backup linebacker here in Pittsburgh. He goes to Las Vegas, and now Spillane is considered one of the best interior linebackers in the entire league. So, I think that going from Mike Tomlin and Terrell Austin's scheme, which was very anti-linebacker, I should say. There's not a lot of linebackers that played well in that scheme over the last several years. To Patrick Graham's defense should help out Peyton Wilson, and hopefully that's enough for him to have his breakout season. But if he can't do that, once again, he's probably going to lose his starting job in the Steelers linebacker rotation moving forward. And then Patrick Queen, another starting linebacker here that's in really the same boat. The Steelers decided to put their faith in Queen and Wilson for one more season, despite these two guys really being a liability for the Steelers defense last year. And last season, man, Patrick Queen was a shell of himself, and, based on what he showed in Baltimore and that all-pro season that he had before coming to Pittsburgh, I mean, he ranked as the 79th overall linebacker in all of football last year, while being one of the most highly paid linebackers in the entire league. And the one thing that he can actually do pretty well is rush the passer. He's a very good blitzer. He's a great athlete. He's got some really awesome splash plays, but the consistency, kind of like Peyton Wilson, just isn't there either as a coverage player or as a run defender. And, something that's really concerning is that his missed tackle rate really spiked last season. It went from the lowest number of his career in his first year here in Pittsburgh to the highest of his career with a missed tackle rate of over 20%. That is among the top two among linebackers in the entire league with 500 plus snaps. So that is just not good enough. Patrick Queen has to be better. But I do think it's worth noting, once again, the switch of scheme going from Terrell Austin and Mike Tomlin to Patrick Graham's defense, I think should help Patrick Queen a lot. Also, the last time he was in a contract year, Patrick Queen was a second-team All-Pro with the Baltimore Ravens. So he's definitely somebody that has upped his game when money was on the line. Hopefully, is Jaquan Brisker. Obviously, whenever you sign a one-year contract, you're going to be fighting, for another contract with that particular team. This is a prove-it season for Jaquan Brisker, and he needs to prove two things. Number one, he can stay healthy, and number two, he can play at a high level in Patrick Graham's defense. If he can do those two things, I think he's got actually a decent chance of getting another contract here in Pittsburgh. He's a Pittsburgh native. He's going to give his heart and soul to this team this year, and he's going to be doing everything he can to be a contributor to this defense. But on a one-year contract, it's definitely a make-it-or-break-it year for the starting safety. Then the final name here on the list is Cameron Johnston, the starting punter for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And, Bill Berg, best nickname in the business among punters, in my opinion, but he's been released by 3 different teams, including the Steelers, over the last 12 months. And, he hasn't been performing the same that he had earlier on in his career. I think that injury that he suffered a couple years back here in Pittsburgh really limited him physically afterwards, and I'm hoping that's not the case. I hope he comes back strong this year. Right now, he's really the only realistic punter option for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but if he doesn't perform well this year, once again, the Steelers will be looking for a new punter next offseason. So it's time for the question of the day here, guys. Which Steelers player is under the most pressure this season? Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. Some of the guys that come to mind for me in this question: Caleb Johnson, Roman Wilson, Peyton Wilson. Those 3 in particular are under a lot of pressure this year. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comments. And of course, make sure you click that subscribe button for daily Steelers training camp updates. I'll be updating you guys on how all of the players that we talked about on today's show are doing in Latrobe every single day. Practice notes, offense and defense every single day right here on the channel for free. So if you don't want to miss any of that, make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers. All right, up next here, folks, this is one of the best videos I think that I've ever put together here at Steelers Talk, guys, and I think we put out a lot of great content on this channel. I really worked hard on this next segment, guys. I'm going to be explaining why Blitzburgh is going to be coming back this year under new defensive coordinator Patrick Graham. And I just think that, we've done a lot of Patrick Graham defensive spotlights this offseason, but I think that this one does the best job of explaining the reasons why I'm so excited for this change in defensive scheme and what I think Patrick Graham brings to the table. I'm super excited to watch this defense play ball this year. I think all the pieces fit together super nicely. I think you got good depth for the most part in all 3 levels. Outside of maybe safety, I think you need better depth at safety. But, I think this defense is in position to really take a step up this year. How high of a step up, we'll see on that. But I do think that the potential is there for this defense to maybe even be the best in the league. Now, I know Steelers fans don't want to hear that, Ponzi, because we've been saying that shit for the last several years. But guess what? The Steelers defenses have had that potential, in my opinion, over the last several years. It's just you were in a limiting old school type of scheme with Mike Tomlin and Terrell Austin that failed to get the most out of the talent that they did have on the roster. Whereas now I think you have a really good defensive play caller that I think is going to be able to do everything that he needs to do to get this very talented group. All right, you're spending a lot of money on this group. They better be talented, and they are, to be what they need to be this year, and that's an elite unit on the defensive side of the ball.
Honestly, not to give to our audience too much of a high praise here, I think this is the second favorite video that I built here, other than your Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, Tom Brady comparison. And that was one of my favorite videos ever making, because that was a beast. But I mean, it's a really good in-depth defensive spotlight, and just Blitzburgh, man. I love that nickname. I think it's been needing to come back. But if you want to get in the mailbag, make sure you use hashtag Steelers all in one phrase here, all in one little sentence here. If you do hashtag Space Steelers, I will not be able to pull up the question. Hashtag Steelers all together in the live chat or super chat. But spoiler alert, you have a great chance to get in with hashtag Steelers. I have a lot of questions already. So if you want Sperry to answer your question, make sure use hashtag Steelers in the live chat and also our donation menu.
Yeah, we have our donation menu. Any super chat, it's going to get on screen. A question's going to get on the mailbag. That's just the way it goes. $10, we'll swing the towels around a little bit. $20, we'll put your name on the gong. $50, we got tortilla slaps, which are a lot of fun once we get into the Madden sim. So, of course, we've got 2 more segments and then a Madden sim to go here. So we still got a lot of content for you guys here. But because we still have a lot of content to get to, that means we're going to get into our next segment here, guys. And can't tell you how excited I am to share this segment with you. Really put in a lot of work to make sure that this was as high quality of information as I could possibly get to you guys. We got a lot of film study stuff in this video. It's going to be a lot of fun. So buckle your seatbelts, guys. This is why Blitzburgh is going to be returning to the Steel City here in 2026. Steelers fans, I believe new defensive coordinator Patrick Graham is bringing the next era of Blitzburgh defense to the Steel City. Welcome in to Steelers Talk by Chat Sports, presented by Prize Picks. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. And before I break down why I think Blitzburgh is returning to Pittsburgh here this season, make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon to kick off today's show to let me know if you're excited to watch this defense like I am. I think this defense is brimming with potential, and with Patrick Graham coming in, there's a lot of exciting new possibilities that we're going to talk about on today's show. So make sure you click that thumbs up icon to kick us off here today. And we'll start here by kind of laying the foundation of why I think blitz-heavy defense will return to Pittsburgh this year, which is because this defense is built to play a blitz-heavy defense, all right? And I think that was done intentionally. I think they put the pieces in place intentionally to be able to run this style of defense. And, there's kind of 3 pillars to what they did, right? Number one, they wanted to make sure that they had lockdown perimeter corners. All right, and the reason why that is an absolute must in a blitz-heavy defense in particular is because when you blitz, obviously you have less numbers in coverage, and if you have 2 guys on the perimeter in particular that can just lock in on outside receivers man-to-man and take away the sidelines, obviously that is going to be a huge benefit to the defense that is running a bunch of blitz stuff. So I think the Steelers have that this year. They thought they had it last year. They did not with Darius Slay, who was an off-cover kind of match quarter style of corner. They tried to force him into a system where they asked him to play a lot of man, and it just didn't work. And, Joey Porter Jr. and Jamel Dean are 2 guys that are some of the best man-to-man corners in the National Football League. And, I think that these guys have been taking away number 1 threats along the sideline for a long time. And I think that both these guys are going to do a phenomenal job. Now, Dean does deal with some injuries. He's got to stay on the field. But as long as you got JPJ and Jamel Dean on the field together, there's not going to be a whole lot for opposing offenses to get on the perimeter. Then the second thing that the Steelers made sure that they had was they had a lot of blitz threats in the 2nd and 3rd levels of the defense here in Pittsburgh. All right. And, you look at those blitz threats that they have now compiled in this defense. And it's very exciting. In the linebacker room, you have Patrick Queen and Peyton Wilson, both of which are very good blitzers and very athletic, very twitched up, can be used and deployed on stunts, etc. Then you have Jalen Ramsey that we're going to talk about in detail here in a second, why his role in this defense as the big nickel is so important. Then Deshaun Elliott and Jaquan Brisker are both guys that are excellent run defenders, also really good tacklers, and also really good blitzers. So even though they're going to be playing a lot of too high safety stuff this year, they can deploy those guys on blitzes if they want to. And they can get really creative with the front structure and all this different stuff with safeties up at the line of scrimmage and linebackers up there. And why this is effective and why having, these 9 potential rush threats on every single play is that it leaves quarterbacks wondering who's rushing and who's dropping. Okay, Jaquan Brisker's over there. Is he going to go, Jalen Ramsey's in the nickel. Is he coming off the slot? You got Patrick Queen and Peyton Wilson. Are they going to do some sort of stunt with those guys? It's going to put a lot on the plate of opposing quarterbacks to kind of decipher decipher who's who in the zoo, like who is coming at me, who is dropping out in coverage. And when you have so many blitz threats like the Steelers do, it just adds an added mental workload for opposing quarterbacks. And in particular, guys, I think Jalen Ramsey and Patrick Queen are going to be very prime blitz threats for this Steelers defense. And I think Patrick Graham is going to deploy these two guys in particular on blitzes a ton. Okay, so let's break each of those guys down individually, and let's get into Jalen Ramsey, who I have said all offseason, I think he's going to be the straw that stirs the drink when it comes to this Steelers defense. And I think that he's going to be an absolute game changer moving back to that big nickel position, because having a big nickel like Ramsey, who's big, who's long, he's a fantastic blitzer and a great run defender, takes on blocks well, can set the edge if you need him to. It essentially allows Pittsburgh to have a 3-4, 5-man front while playing their nickel defense. All right, and kind of in a weird way, Jalen Ramsey's position in this defense as the big nickel is almost like an outside linebacker in a 3-4 front. So the way that I can describe this to you guys here is that in a traditional 5-man front there, you guys can kind of take a look at the picture here, where you've got, the nose tackle in the middle, you got the 2 4-eye techniques, or whatever you want to call them, the defensive ends there on the next level, and then you have your outside linebackers playing on the edges there. And obviously when you play nickel, you only have a 4-down front, but when you have an edge play, or when you have a slot player like Jalen Ramsey, who's big, who's physical, who's a great run defender, you can essentially use him as that outside linebacker in kind of a hybrid nickel 3-4 front here. And the reason why I'm excited about Ramsey playing that role is because we've seen it before. Mike Hilton, before he left Pittsburgh here in the 2021 offseason, he played this role back in the day. Mike Tomlin absolutely deployed Mike Hilton in this way early on in his career when he started his career here in Pittsburgh. And you guys can see the impact stats that he had in the Steelers defense early on in his career, racking up TFLs as a run defender, right? Then he has the sack production as a slot cornerback that weighed less than 185 pounds, right? He would force fumbles. He would get interceptions in coverage as well. Like Mike Hilton was a big-time impact player in those defenses in the late 2010s and early 2020s. And he did that at 5'9", 184 pounds. And you get a guy in Jalen Ramsey who's at least just as instinctive as Hilton was, only he's 6'1", 211 pounds, and he's one of the best run-defending DBs in the history of the National Football League. So he's pretty much a bigger, faster, I don't know about faster, but certainly bigger version of Mike Hilton. And I'm really excited to see the kind of production he's going to have, particularly as a pass rusher, which is exactly why you should be taking the more on sacks for Jalen Ramsey on the Prize Picks app during your season-long lineups this year. Right now, Prize Picks only projects Jalen Ramsey at a quarter sack this year. I can almost guarantee you guys right now that he's going to get more than that this season, which is why I'm putting that in my season-long lineups this year. I think you should as well. You pair that up with a couple other Prize Picks projections for the season long, like taking the more on passing touchdowns for Aaron Rodgers and the more on rushing touchdowns for Lamar Jackson, and you can win 6 times your money on that lineup if you get all 3 correct. So you can turn $10 into $60, $20 into $120. And I would actually highly recommend that you guys get in on Flex Fridays every single Friday on the Prize Picks app here. Every Friday, users can opt into Flex Friday from the rewards tab and apply a protected play for one flex play lineup. If that lineup wins, it pays out normally. If that lineup loses, though, Prize Picks refunds the entry as a bonus lineup, allowing you to run it back without risking the additional funds. And best of all, guys, Prize Picks just switched their offer. All you have to do is play your first $5 lineup with code HMA, and if you win that lineup, you get $150 in additional lineups. Because of this new offer, there's not a better time to join Prize Picks right before the start of the football season. So lock in and win that first lineup to get the $150 in additional lineups. Click the link in the comments and description to download the app today. As always, play responsibly, and a big thank you to Prize Picks for sponsoring Steelers Talk. So the impact of Jalen Ramsey playing that big nickel position, essentially playing like a hybrid outside linebacker in the 3-4 as a nickel slot cornerback, is that opposing offenses are going to have to account for what he is doing on every single play. Is he blitzing? Is he going out into coverage? Is he moving around, right? And that's going to put another extra workload on the opposing quarterback pre-snap and post-snap for that matter. And another benefit to having Ramsey be that big focal point for the opposing quarterback. And we saw this with Mike Hilton when he was playing at his prime here in Pittsburgh, is that quarterbacks would fail to look at the other side, and that would allow like Terrell Edmonds and some other linebackers to get some awesome pass rush opportunities coming off the other side because people were so worried about Mike Hilton blitzing from the slot. And I think that Ramsey's going to have a very similar effect, and that's exactly when you send the safeties on the blitzes, right? That's when you send Jaquan Brisker, who, by the way, is working with Aaron Donald on his pass rush moves. He's expected to blitz that often this year, and Deshaun Elliott. Like, we've seen those guys do this at a very high level, and with Ramsey getting as much attention as he's going to get this year, I'm so excited to see what kind of opportunities that opens up for the other blitzers in this defense. But going back to that other prime blitz candidate in this defense, I also think Patrick Graham is going to blitz Patrick Queen a lot as well, okay? The thing that Patrick Queen does by far the best on his profile right now is rush the passer. And, I think that there's a lot of creative ways that you can blitz a linebacker while dropping somebody else into coverage or sending 5 people in a fire zone, and we'll talk about some of those specifics here in a second. But I think Patrick Queen is going to be one of the most heavily blitzed linebackers in the entire National Football League this year, and his athleticism is going to get weaponized by Patrick Graham in this Steelers defense. And then the final thing that the Pittsburgh Steelers really wanted to get with this defense, and it was something that was already here, quite frankly, but it adds another element to this, is that you have great zone dropping outside linebackers in TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, and Nick Herbig. All 3 of those guys can drop into coverage if you need them to, and that's really Pittsburgh's winning edge, in my opinion, on defense, man. You got so much versatility with these players, right? We just talked about how linebackers and safeties and your slot cornerback can all blitz, but then it's also really nice to have that versatility of your edge rushers being able to drop back into coverage and be good players as those zone droppers. It just creates a ton of creative possibilities for who's dropping, who's blitzing, who's doing all this stuff. It's going to be impossible to decipher what the Pittsburgh Steelers are doing pre-snap, and that's really going to create a lot of fun opportunities for this defense to wreak havoc, particularly on pass-heavy downs. But listen, man, the blitz possibilities for this year are simply endless, and I do expect Patrick Graham to really reach in deep into his creative bag of tricks, which we've seen him do throughout his career, to really maximize what the Pittsburgh Steelers pass rush is going to be this season. Now, before we get into the specifics of the different types of blitzes I'm expecting from the Steelers this year, on why that should get you excited as a Steelers fan, I want to tell you about our other sponsor on today's show, which is SeatGeek. The Steelers 2026 schedule is now set, guys, and tickets for every Steelers game, home, away, and international, is now available for purchase on the SeatGeek app. Use code CHAT10 to get 10% off your next set of tickets. And when you get into the SeatGeek app, guys, you're going to see this kind of menu, and you just scroll down to the game that you guys want to go see. You click into that game, and it's going to show you the stadium view with all the best value tickets that are available at that moment on the SeatGeek app. And then when you click into an actual seat, you're going to see the view from that seat, and it's going to give you all the relevant information you need in order to make an educated decision for you and your family to get some really great tickets for you. So whether it's a baseball game at beautiful PNC Park this summer with the kids or an Ed Sheeran concert with the wife, SeatGeek has your back. Each ticket is rated on a value scale of 1 to 10, so you know you're getting a good deal. Look for the green dots when using their app. Green obviously means good value. Red obviously means bad. And of course, I have a code for you guys to get an even better deal on your next set of tickets. Use code CHAT10 for 10% off your next set of tickets on the SeatGeek app. One more time, that's 10% off any tickets with promo code CHAT10. Make sure you click the link in the description and comments to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later on. And a big thank you to SeatGeek for sponsoring today's edition of Steelers Talk. So now let's get into some of the different kinds of pressure variations that Patrick Graham can deploy with the personnel that we just talked about here in the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. And really with Patrick Graham, the discussion starts with simulated pressures. And Patrick Graham ran a ton of simulated pressures in Las Vegas last year simply because they didn't have a ton of talent on that Raiders team, especially in the secondary. So the blitz rate wasn't super high. They were 25th in the league at just a 14.2% true blitz rate, but he loved to do what's called simulated pressures, where essentially what it is you still send just 4 pass rushers, but you're sending a non-lineman as one of the rushers, so a linebacker, a DB, something like that, and then you're dropping somebody that is playing on the ball, right? So a defensive tackle, a defensive end, something like that. So that is what a sim pressure is, and essentially the thinking behind sim pressures is that you don't sacrifice numbers in coverage, and when you don't have a good secondary, like the Raiders did not have last year, it makes more sense to run sim pressures as opposed to being more of a blitz-heavy group, like I expect him to deploy here in Pittsburgh. But kind of an example of sim pressures looks like this, where the Commanders would send one of those inside linebackers, and then they would drop their defensive end into coverage, and they would kind of play it out that way. So you're not sacrificing numbers in coverage, but you are getting creative in the way that you're trying to get after the quarterback. So that's really the reasoning behind sim pressures. That's why they're so popular in today's NFL, is because you can still just rush 4, but you can find creative ways to try and get some advantageous matchups for your guys, but you also don't have to sacrifice numbers in coverage, which obviously helps out the back end in the secondary, right? So definitely expect quite a bit of sim pressures from the Pittsburgh Steelers this year, but I'm also expecting a heavy dose as well of fire zones, and this is something that Steelers fans should be very aware of, because this has been what the Pittsburgh Steelers defense has been based on for 20 plus years at this point. Dick LeBeau was really the guy that brought this to the forefront at the National Football League level, and he built multiple legendary Steelers defenses by using fire zones very, very frequently, and the Steelers have been using fire zones in Mike Tomlin's scheme for a very long time, even after LeBeau left the squad. And essentially what the 3 deep fire zones kind of are is they kind of use quarters match principles, but they kind of just put it into a 3 deep, 3 under kind of format there. So on the outside, you've got your cornerbacks, the guys that are playing the two outside deep circles there. They are matching number 1 to that side of the field, so they're carrying them. If they go vertical, that's going to be Jamel Dean and Joey Porter Jr. That's why it's so important that those guys can man up people one-on-one, is because they're essentially playing man coverage every time they play a fire zone. And then you've got those 3 underneath players there that are matching based on what the receivers are doing after the play starts. So it's a really good way to keep a lid on opposing offenses, because you do have that post safety, you do have 3 deep defenders, and it's very difficult to really attack down the field versus a 3-3 fire zone. But you can still get that extra pressure on the quarterback. That's why Dick LeBeau loved running it here in Pittsburgh, and why it's so popular even in today's NFL. But something that I hope that the Pittsburgh Steelers and Patrick Graham kind of dip their toe into this year is the hot quarters and palms looks that we've been seeing from the Minnesota Vikings and their defensive coordinator, Brian Flores, over the last several years there in Minnesota. Because Minnesota has been one of those defenses where some years they don't have like the best overall defensive talent, but this scheme really does a great job creating havoc, forcing quick decisions from quarterbacks, forcing bad decisions from quarterbacks, which really helps out and helps elevate the defensive roster. And I just think it's maybe the best defensive scheme that's being run anywhere in professional football right now. And you know where Brian Flores actually learned that scheme? He actually learned it when he was an assistant coach here in Pittsburgh from Pitt head coach Pat Narduzzi. Well, not directly from Pat. He was talking with the linebackers coach for the Pitt Panthers, and he was kind of breaking down their defensive system. And Brian Flores loved it so much, he brought it to Minnesota, and he's one of the hottest defensive coordinators working in football over the last several years. And remember, Patrick Graham is close friends with Brian Flores. He was actually his defensive coordinator in Miami way back when. And, those guys worked together for a long time under Bill Belichick in New England. So they're very close friends. And something tells me that Patrick Graham might try and implement some of this stuff here in Pittsburgh this year. Now, in terms of how this is different than maybe a 3-3 fire zone, is essentially what Flores does with Minnesota is that you're still sending the 5 players. So it's still a fire zone. But instead of playing, the 3-3 structure, you play with 2 triangles, either playing quarters or playing palms, or you can even switch it up. That's what's so cool about this system, guys, that in one triangle where you're covering 2 or 3 receivers, you're playing palms, and then the other one, you're playing quarters. And that really screws with quarterbacks' minds because they have to read the defense post-snap. They have to say, okay, are they playing a palms triangle here, or are they playing quarters here? And then they have to, process that information while 5 players are coming after them in a blitz. It's just a lot of mental information that they have to process, and it just leads to a lot of mistakes from quarterbacks. It leads to a lot of incompletions, and it really helps elevate a defensive roster if you have assignment sound players that aren't busting assignments. Another thing that you can do is when you get a trips formation, what Flores loves to do is he loves to do this fire zone where he is sending 5 players, but he megs the outside corner on the one side there. So that essentially means, man everywhere he goes. So that cornerback on the number 1 at the bottom of your screen is following that receiver wherever he goes. That's Joey Porter Jr. for the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? And then you have the quarters box on the 3 receivers to the trip side at the top of your screen. And then you have the backside safety there in Harrison Smith poaching any crossers that come across. So it's a really, really good way to blitz and still have a really good plan for how to handle trips formations. And Brian Flores is an absolute genius, and he deserves all the credit in the world for that, but I think Patrick Graham might implement some of this stuff in Pittsburgh this year, which could be dangerous. And then the final pressure variation that I think Patrick Graham will run here in Pittsburgh is cover 0 looks. And this is something that we have seen from Graham. This is something we've seen from Flores as well in Minnesota. It's kind of his calling card, where Patrick Graham actually ran cover 0 7.8% of the time last year. That was the 5th most in the NFL. And the reason why it's so effective is because it really forces quick decisions from quarterbacks, because you put everybody up at the line of scrimmage. You have no idea who's coming out, all this different stuff. And then you have your DBs playing in the backfield there on what's called birds on a fence. So you have ultimate leverage. It's the ultimate call for like 3rd and long situations, because you can just have your DBs playing at the sticks, and you're going to have a guaranteed free rusher if you send everybody at the quarterback. And what's really cool about this is that it also prevents those quick throws over the middle, because the guys that get blocked up, they just go back into a soft little zone there. So if there's any quick slants that come across over the middle, you're going to have defenders there ready to try and swat those balls away. So it prevents the quick pass. It does a great job taking away the deep pass as well, as long as you can get to the quarterback quickly, because your DBs are playing with leverage. And then you can also go out and play like Tampa 2 and get really exotic out of this look as well. You can put everyone up at the line of scrimmage, then rotate post-snap and really screw with the quarterback's mind. And you can still, run whatever you want to run up front. And really get to the quarterback from a mental perspective. So with all these different variations of pressure that Patrick Graham can send to opposing quarterbacks and all the different blitz threats that exist on the Steelers defense, I think if PG has the right scheme in mind here for Pittsburgh, and I think he does, I think Pittsburgh has a chance to be an elite defense this season. I really do think that. As long as this team can stay relatively healthy, I'm looking at you, Jamel Dean, I think that this defense has the opportunity to be an elite unit this year. And if that is the case, and you're in the top 3 in defense in the league, by the time you get to January, especially if the offense takes a step forward under new head coach Mike McCarthy, this team has a shot to win games in January. I'll say that right now. The last 2 Super Bowl winners had elite defenses in the Seattle Seahawks and the Philadelphia Eagles. As long as that offense, can get to around top 10 category, and then this defense can take that big step forward that I think it's capable of, I think we could be looking at a very dangerous Pittsburgh Steelers defense and team once we get to the end of this season and once we get to the NFL postseason. So it's time for the question of the day here, guys. The Steelers will have a top blank defense in the NFL this season. Do you think they'll be top 10, top 5, top 3? Do you think they'll be the best in the world this year? Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. If you guys got value out of today's show and you guys really like the in-depth look, you guys like the film study type of stuff here, make sure you guys click that subscribe button, because that's the kind of content we provide on this channel. We do it every single day, most of the time 2 times a day. We put out 2 videos for free on this channel. So if you guys really appreciate in-depth, nuanced Steelers content, you want more of it on your feed, make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. And until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers. All right, man. That was a fun segment. By the way, I took the under on that one. Ponzi,
I took the over.
Ponzi thought it would be over 30 minutes. It was just over.
Well, because you like to yap, man.
It was just over 20.
Yeah.
So listen, man, I think I got through that pretty efficiently.
Did you take the under on that knowing that you were going to yap fast?
No, I mean, listen, there's a lot of information there, but I think it's important to be efficient with the information. So,
yeah, that's fair enough.
I mean, listen, I hope you guys got value out of that. I worked really, really hard on it. I'm really excited about this Steelers defense because I think they've got the personnel to bring back a Blitzburgh type of mentality where we're coming after you every single week. And we've got the coverage players on the back end to be able to survive, being a blitz-heavy defense. So I'm really excited, if you can't tell already. But $2 here from Schuleberg says, why did the live schedule change? So something came up here at Chat Sports where we were going to start doing 3 live shows a week. But something came up here where we have to go back to the 2 live show schedule, at least for now. Hopefully, eventually, we can get to that 3 live show schedule every week. But for now, there's just something that's come up here where we're going to be going live Tuesdays and Thursdays every week for the foreseeable future. But hopefully by the start of the season, we can do a 3 weekly live show type of schedule for you guys. And of course, if you guys have a question that you want to get on the mailbag, we're about to film it. I want to get your questions, guys. So if you haven't already, #Steelers in the chat. If you have any questions about the Steelers defense, I'd love to answer them. If you have any questions about Aaron Rodgers or anything about the offense or anything regarding the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm happy to answer any and all questions. So again, if you want to guarantee your question, well, I mean, at this point, you can just put in #Steelers. It's going to get on the show. So get those #Steelers questions in, and if you want to donate to the show, we would greatly appreciate it. Any donation, your question gets guaranteed on the mailbag. $10, we wave the terrible towel around. $20, name on the gong. $50, tortilla slaps. We do not have a tortilla slap yet, guys, so we'd love to get one by the end of the show. And it's been a long day. It's been a long week here. I'd love to get a little slap going here before the end of the show, but if not, no big deal. Do we have enough questions? All right. He says we have more than enough. So thank you guys so much for getting those questions in there. Without further ado, let's get into our final segment of the day here where I'm answering your questions on this week's Steelers Talk Mailbag. You are watching Steelers Talk by Chat Sports presented by Prize Picks. I'm your host, Jack Sperry, and today it's time for my favorite segment of the week. It is the Steelers Talk Mailbag, where I'm answering your questions on the black and gold here the weekend before the start of Steelers training camp. So I'm sure you guys have a bunch of great questions for me here this week. So without further ado, let's get into the first question, which is from JT Clover, who says, if Drew wins the QB2 spot, does that say more about Will and Mason's lack of talent, more about Big Mike's coaching? It's actually a really good question here, JT Clover. It depends, right? Because if Will Howard and Mason Rudolph are just playing so poorly and by default Drew Aller gets the job, then obviously it's Will and Mason. But if Drew Aller goes out there in the preseason and training camp and is just slinging it around, playing great, looking like the future of this team's position at quarterback, I mean, it's going to be on Mike McCarthy, right? It's going to be on the coaching and the development that they've already been able to instill in him. Now, I want to say this up front here. I'm not expecting that from Drew Aller. I'm expecting him to struggle. I'm expecting him to go through rookie growing pains. And frankly, I'm okay with that. He's not going to play this year. Unless there's multiple injuries to the quarterback room this year, he's not going to be playing a down for the Pittsburgh Steelers probably this season. So I'm okay with mistakes. I'm okay with learning. I'm okay with development. All right? This is the year for that to happen. So, if he wins that QB2 job, it probably means Drew lit it up in the preseason, which is obviously a good thing for him, good thing for Mike McCarthy. So I'll have to go with the latter option in your question there, JT. $5 from Holden Monroe. Says, what top 3 things are you most interested to see at camp? Well, to go back to the Drew Aller thing, I'm excited to see what Drew looks like in camp. I'm excited to see what Will Howard looks like. We haven't really seen him in a public capacity play football since last year at training camp, and he was doing pretty well with the third team last year, if I remember correctly, before he unfortunately got that hand injury and he couldn't even play in a preseason game. But that shouldn't be the case here. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Will Howard does, what Drew Aller does. Second most important thing I'm looking forward to, I'll go with what the defense is doing, man. Like, I'm excited to see what kind of crazy looks Patrick Graham's going to be throwing at Aaron Rodgers and watching that chess match out there. Really excited to see that. Then the final thing here, I'll say Jeremy Bernard out of Alabama. I'm really excited to see what he looks like. It'll be interesting to see if he gets work with the first team. Or if Roman Wilson's going to hold down that number 3 wide receiver spot, at least to start camp. But Jeremy Bernard, I think, is going to be somebody that becomes an Aaron Rodgers favorite really quickly, because I think he can be an easy button for Aaron Rodgers, right? I think he can be the guy that he can get those quick screen passes out to, and he's going to pick up a good amount of yardage, pick up those first downs, and I think that he's going to have reliable hands, run routes the way Rodgers wants them to be run. I know Rodgers doesn't really connect with rookie receivers typically, but I don't think Jeremy Bernard's your typical rookie receiver. I think he's supremely ready for this, and I think that's going to show in Latrobe, so very excited to see him. Then we got on from J5050, says, Jack, does it really make sense to keep all these expensive vets that expect to win Super Bowls next year without Rodgers, or a real answer at QB? Well, listen, man, we're going to learn a lot this year, and if the Steelers are just not getting it done, maybe Cam Hayward takes a step back, if a lot of the veterans aren't playing up to what the expectations are, and you're moving to Drew Aller or first-round rookie or Will Howard next year, I think there's a decent chance we could see maybe a little bit of a retooling here in Pittsburgh, where you're getting rid of a lot of your veterans to clear cap space and get draft picks and really rebuild this roster in the image of Mike McCarthy specifically. But obviously, if the team wins and is playing well, then it's like, okay, the expectation is Drew Aller's going to come in, or Will Howard's going to come in, whoever's going to be playing quarterback next year, and the expectation's going to be to win, right? So it'll be interesting to see how things go there, J5. But yeah, I think if the season goes well, and I have no reason to think it won't, I do think that a lot of these veterans will be back for another season. So true or false, let me know down there in the comments section. The Steelers will be title contenders this season. Type T if you think that statement is true. Type F if you think that statement is false. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments. And while you're answering that question, I want to tell you about today's presenting sponsor, which, of course, is Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app. Football season is nearly back, folks, and there isn't a better place to cash in on your football takes this season with our friends at Prize Picks. The app is really easy to use. Just pick more than or less than on a few player stat projections and then lock in your lineup. And while you wait for football to finally get back, Prize Picks has a number of other sports to choose from, like baseball and more, to enhance your sports viewing experience this summer. I'm going to be putting in a lot of season-long lineups here, guys, as you guys have been seeing on the show over the last several weeks. But this particular one, I'm taking the more on passing touchdowns for Aaron Rodgers, the more on sacks for Jalen Ramsey, and the more on rushing touchdowns for Lamar Jackson. This particular projection can win me $60 on just a $10 entry fee if I can get all 3 of these projections correct. I would also highly recommend that you guys get in on Flex Fridays every single Friday on the Prize Picks app, because every Friday on the Prize Picks app, you can do a Flex Friday kind of lineup, and if that lineup wins, it pays out normally like any other lineup. But if it loses, Prize Picks refunds the entry as a bonus lineup, allowing you to run it back without risking additional funds. So Fridays are really the best day to use the Prize Picks app, guys. And best of all, Prize Picks just switched their offer. All you have to do is play your first $5 with code HMA, and if you win that lineup, you get $150 in additional lineups. Because of this new offer, there's not a better time to join right before the start of football season. So lock in and win that first lineup. And if you do that and use code HMA on a $5 lineup, your first one, you guys can walk away with $150 in bonus lineups today. So click the link in the comments and description to download the app today. As always, play responsibly, and a big thank you to Prize Picks for sponsoring Steelers Talk. Kevin Reed coming in with a question here, says, in your opinion, who does enough to be the team MVP this season? It's a great question. I'm going to go with Jalen Ramsey, man. I think Jalen Ramsey, the role that he's going to play in this defense will be absolutely massive. He's going to be asked to almost play like a hybrid outside linebacker role from the slot. And we saw Mike Hilton play that at 184 pounds back in 2020. Did it so well. That defense was so good, in part because Mike Hilton played that role at such a high degree. Guess what? Jalen Ramsey's like 20 pounds heavier than he is, and he's just as instinctive in coverage, right? So I'm really excited to see what Jalen Ramsey does in that big nickel position for Pittsburgh this year, and I'm really excited to see his contributions as a blitzer, as a zone dropper, as a run defender, all the things that you're going to be asking him to do this year. Logan Fligman here, who says, what could a Panthers-Steelers trade look like for Alex Highsmith? Well, I mean, the Panthers did lose one of their edge rushers, Nick Skorton, young player out of Texas A&M, who was showing a lot of promise, and now he's out for the season. So the Panthers could certainly use another edge rusher to their room. I think it would have to be at least a second rounder to get the deal done, but honestly, I'm not sure if the Steelers are really looking at trading Highsmith. Now, there's always the possibility that we get to training camp this week and Highsmith is not practicing and says, pay me more than Nick Herbig or I'm not playing. And if that happens, then it's like, okay, we can start talking about Alex Highsmith trade ideas. And I think the Steelers would probably take a second rounder from Carolina in that opportunity. But I think if the Steelers had their way, Highsmith is cool playing out this year of his current contract. They trade him next offseason. And then for this year, when they're trying to win, and Cam Hayward and maybe Aaron Rodgers' final year as well, they can trade Alex Highsmith next offseason while still having that three-headed monster at the edge. So make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already. The real ones know clicking that thumbs up icon is the best way to help out the channel. It tells the YouTube algorithm that Steelers fans are enjoying this show and that they should recommend it to other Steelers fans on the planet. So if you guys want to help us grow, get more eyes on the channel, increase the subscriber count, all that great stuff, the best way to do that for us is for you to click that thumbs up icon. We got one from Sirio. Says, do you think Bernard should be wide receiver 3 or should we try and work out a deal with Stephon Diggs? I think you go into training camp and you see how Jeremy and Roman are doing. Because I think right now, the 4 receivers that you have, if every single piece does their job and is playing it to an adequate level, you got a very good wide receiver room, okay? You've got DK as your number 1 and kind of deep threat, yak threat as well. You got Michael Pittman Jr. as the hands catcher, the red zone threat, the back shoulder guy, the chain mover, tough guy, good run blocker too, by the way. You get Jeremy Bernard, who's like your big slot, good yak guy, can put him in the backfield, can do a lot of different things with him. And then you got Roman Wilson, who's kind of your smaller, speedier slot, who's more of a deep threat from the slot position. And I think that that's a really good 4 wide receiver rotation. But the young guys have to prove that they can connect with Aaron Rodgers, right? So if that doesn't happen and you need to add somebody to this group that Rodgers trusts, that's when the Stephon Diggs conversation begins. That's when, some of these other conversations can begin to be had. Deebo Samuel's another one that could fit, especially if Jeremy isn't playing up to snuff. But honestly, man, I think Diggs is probably too expensive for the Steelers. Now, I guess they could restructure like DK Metcalf's contract and they could save some money and they could get a deal done with Diggs. But I don't know, man. Like, I feel like Diggs probably wouldn't even want to come here because he'd probably have to be more of a wide receiver 3. I think he wants to be a true wide receiver 2 somewhere. Don't know if that opportunity exists for him in Pittsburgh. Then we got one from D. Salance who says, if you could go back in time and make a decision the Steelers make differently, what would it be? Not necessarily this offseason, but in general. Well, the first one that comes to mind is I wish they could have made something work with George Pickens for him to stay. Because last year, what was the big issue with Pittsburgh? We didn't have enough wide receivers. You know who could have really fucking helped that? George Pickens. All right? Can you imagine Aaron Rodgers having that additional all-pro caliber receiver on this offense with DK Metcalf? That would have opened up so many things. Not only would your wide receiver duo be extremely upgraded, but it would open up more opportunities for DK Metcalf because DK was getting consistently bracketed. Teams would always find ways to make sure they had an inside out on him, and it just limited the opportunities that you could get him the football. If you would have had George Pickens, and by the way, Pickens would have been the team's number 1 receiver last year, DK would have been the number 2, that's one of the best wide receiver duos in the league, and I think that opens up the passing game. I think Rodgers throws the ball downfield a lot more because George Pickens is so good in those combat catch situations. He would have trusted him on those back shoulder fades. I think it would have been amazing, man. And then with the defense playing better towards the end of the season last year, that's a team that maybe could have made some noise. That's a team that maybe could have went on a little bit of a run. And, it just sucks that we had to deal with yet another season where you only have one good receiver and then everybody else can't play. And it just limits what the quarterback can do. It limits what the offense can be. And that just sucks. So I understand why the Steelers traded Pickens. The relationship just devolved to a point where you had to get rid of him from their eyes. But listen, man, it just sucks to know that you could have had that guy on your team and you let him go for just a third-round pick. Then you get Supdog here. He says, what position can you see struggling this season and being prioritized in the draft like wide receivers this year? First one that comes to mind, Supdog, is linebacker. Just because Patrick Queen is on the final year of his deal. Peyton Wilson really feels like he's in a make-it-or-break-it year in terms of, are you a starter or are you more of just a true sub-package guy? Cole Holcomb's under contract for multiple years. He's fine, but, yeah, I feel like, if this is another season where the linebacking room is a liability for the Steelers defense, I think that's definitely something they're going to look to address next offseason. Safety's another one. Jaquan Brisker only on a one-year deal, so if he doesn't play great, you're going to be looking for a long-term starter at safety. So I would probably say those two heading into the season. But also quarterback is definitely one that's a big question mark heading into next season as well. So it's time for the question of the day. Which Steelers player is under the most pressure heading into the season? Is it Aaron Rodgers? Is one of the younger guys that's trying to get a contract? Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. And that'll be it for today's edition of Steelers Talk and this week's Steelers Talk mailbag. If you guys want to get a question on a future mailbag, join us on our live shows. We do these mailbags very frequently, and I love having that two-way conversation with you guys so I can answer your questions and kind of alleviate any concerns that you have surrounding the black and gold. So if you want to join the most interactive Steelers fan community anywhere here on YouTube, by the way, we do more than just the live shows and the videos here. We have watch parties for every single Steelers game where we react to the season together. So if that's your thing, you guys want to join a community of over 120,000 subscribers that bleed black and gold and watch every game together, this is the place for you, man. Click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers. All right.
Madden Sim time.
Madden Sim time, baby. All right. It's 7:09 p.m. on the East Coast.
Honestly, Segs took a lot less than I thought it were going to.
Yeah, we moved through those pretty quickly. I mean, it definitely helped that we didn't have a whole onslaught of super chats to get to.
But this is what you guys really came for.
But yeah, man, this game that means nothing essentially, and the reason why it means nothing is because the division is going to come down to Week 18 versus the Baltimore Ravens. No matter what, the Steelers are tied for first once again in the AFC North at 10-5. You guys can see how the season went. Very good start to the season. Then they started losing some games, but they did bounce back last week with a win over the Carolina Panthers. Now they're sitting at 10-5, so this would, by the way, be the fourth straight double-digit win season for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But all I hear is the Steelers are an unserious organization, Ponzi, but I digress. Right now, you've locked yourself in to double-digit wins. Now you get the Tennessee Titans, and like we mentioned, guys, no matter what, the division comes down to Week 18, so it doesn't really matter if you win or lose this, but there's wild card implications, there's seeding implications, but because the season isn't on the line in this particular game, we do have Will Howard starting this game, okay? And we did have him start, obviously, last game versus Carolina because Aaron Rodgers was dealing with an injury. He's still not 100%, according to Ponzi here.
Yeah.
So
Ponzi, Adam Schefter here on Madden.
So if he's not 100% in a game that doesn't really matter, we're going to give Will Howard another chance and see if he can continue to play well because he played pretty well in that last game versus Carolina.
The second half, reportedly he got slapped by a tortilla at halftime, and he started to lock in. I think he only had one incompletion in the second half.
And he ran for, 80 yards
Yeah,
plus?
He was the Steelers' leading rusher.
Had a rushing touchdown. So, hey, Will Howard gets another chance here against Robert Saleh's defense in Tennessee. Let's see how it goes, man. Let's get into this latest Madden sim.
Of course, TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith back to return because Madden's a broken game.
And the kick is away. It's going to be fielded by Weegan at the 4, and he will take it to the 28. By the way, we speculated, Ponzi, that Caden Weegan's break tackle rating was really low because he hasn't broken any tackles all season long. What'd you say it was? It was like a 33?
It was a 62.
So he's technically a 93 overall, but if you can't break tackles, it's like you're going to go down on first contact. So first down run here. It's going to be a gain of 2. Will Howard, man, let's go.
Got really the run game going Dave A made a great call last week of Will Howard getting the run game going.
Yeah, the QB run game was the only thing that was working. They couldn't really get the running backs going, but Will Howard was great.
Oh.
Now there's going to be
Offside?
a false start. No, I think it's going to be false start.
Oh, my goodness.
False start on Jennings Dunker, the rookie out of Iowa. And
Can't
that's going to park him back, 2nd down and 13.
Will was not afraid to throw it deep, though.
Will takes the snap from shotgun. Quick throw. It's going to be caught for a short gain. That's Michael Pittman Jr., I think. It was either that or Jeremy.
It was Pittman.
I couldn't tell if it was 11 or 17, but it's a gain of 5. So that sets up 3rd and long here. Not a great start to put your rookie quarterback in. Well, I guess 2nd year, but he's pretty much a rookie this year.
Yeah, I mean, when you have no game snaps whatsoever, it's pretty much a rookie.
So shotgun here. He's got doubles left. Takes the snap. Howard looking. Will throw it off his back foot and overthrows his receiver. Tried to throw it like Rodgers there a little bit off his back foot.
A little like Raji right there.
And he had an open receiver. If he hits that guy in stride, he might score, but Will Howard couldn't hit him, and it's going to be incomplete, and they will send out Bill Berg, Cameron Johnston, to punt this thing away.
Just make sure the punt gets away. Oh.
And Johnston boots this thing away. It's going to be caught at the 20. There's no way he was on the 20, by the way. He was definitely on the 19. Now, the Titans have new jerseys, which are not implemented into the new.
They have a new logo, too.
Into the old Madden game. But I like the new jerseys, if I'm being honest with you, Ponzi.
I honestly like both.
They look like the old Oilers. It's the old Oilers colors. I really like it. Now Cam Ward throws wobbler into tight coverage, and it's incomplete. Good coverage from Joey Porter Jr. to knock that one away.
Of course, Porter had didn't he have the interception last week?
Yes. Joey Porter Jr. had the interception versus Carolina in the previous game. All right, shotgun here, trips left with a stack in the slot for Tennessee. It's going to be read option. Cam Ward's going to keep it, and he's going to get hit hard after a gain of 7. So that sets up 3rd and short.
Oh. Okay, he's good. He's good.
So Cam Ward got hit hard there. Can't take too many of those sacks.
Otherwise, Will Levis will play, and we know him.
So here we go, shotgun with a nasty bunch out to the left, single wide receiver out to the right. Ward will take the snap, looks for the quick throw, and they just give it up easy. Yeah. 1st down, Tennessee.
That's just what you don't want to see right there. Patrick Queen just playing way too deep.
Flashback to the Bengals game last year where they just 3rd and short. Oh, okay, we'll just throw a quick slant uncovered to Jamar Chase, pick up a new set of downs. So here we go, 1st down and 10, new set of downs for Tennessee. Ward from shotgun will take the snap and hand it off, and pretty good run defense here. I can't believe he got 4 yards out of that. Good penetration.
Jalen Ramsey absolutely whiffed trying to go for the hit stick. Something that won't happen in real life.
Tony Pollard, former Cowboy.
Tony, he's our guy.
Former Mike McCarthy running back. Takes it for 4 yards. Now they go empty, trips right, doubles left. For Ward, he's going to look for the quick screen. He's going to throw it. It's caught. And what? Wan'Dale Robinson is just pushing Steelers defenders off of him. Breaks 2 tackles.
Including another hit stick from Jalen Ramsey.
Dude, Jalen Ramsey is an X factor. How is freaking Wan'Dale Robinson pushing him off?
The $1 million
This is a joke. Everyone type F Madden in the chat. Type F Madden in the chat. That is ridiculous. I formation, play action here for Ward. Pressure there, and it's Alex Highsmith with the sack. It's going to force 2nd down and very long. 1st sack of the day for the Steelers defense.
Finally making a tackle, man.
Let's go, dog. Let's go.
Look, man, I know it's Madden, but Jalen Ramsey has a really good a tackle rating. I think it's one of the highest.
He's missed so many tackles in this season, too, which is just what is he doing?
Sometimes the rating scales are different in Madden where quarterbacks miss tackles more oftenly, but that just can't happen.
More oftenly. Crazy. Shotgun here. Cam Ward, pressure up the middle, and that's going to be Cam Hayward getting in on the action. Another Steelers sack. It'll be 3rd and 23 coming up. Everybody type sack in the chat. Blitzburgh doing its magic, baby.
Look, man, I know you ain't talking to me about grammar.
Hell yeah, I am.
With the way that you spell, man?
What are you talking about?
You want to see something real quick? Hold up.
If anything, it's a typo.
That's what I'm saying. You're spelling.
That's not grammar, though. That's spelling.
I said I know you're not talking about grammar when you're spelling, man.
Shotgun here. Empty looking. Ward's going to
goodness.
gear up and go down the field. Double coverage. Incomplete.
That was a long
Yeah,
throw.
Ward has a cannon, man. He threw that all the way to the end zone. It falls incomplete. Good Steelers defensive possession here. They'll get the ball back.
You know, if Cam Ward doesn't take a huge or like a step forward in the next 2 years, people will remember him by his first touchdown. And that's the only highlight.
Yeah. His first touchdown was sick, though. Now they're going to let this bounce, and it will go into the back of the end zone. So touchback. That's where Will Howard will retake the field here. I kind of feel like Howard might have to, warm up to the game a little bit, because last game, 0 for 4, his first 4 pass attempts. Then he kind of got going at the end of the first half. Then he played great in the second half. So we'll see. Shotgun here for Howard. 3-receiver set. Takes the snap. He's looking. Stepping back. Now stepping up. Now throwing downfield. Open receiver. Overthrew him again. Will Howard has had 2 potential touchdowns wide open and has missed both of them.
Maybe he needs another tortilla slap.
He needs yes, I think he does. So if you want to slap Will at halftime, which is just me slapping Ponzi, get those 50. Someone send it a $50 super chat. Now here we go. Howard looking, throwing a quick in cut to DK Metcalf, and there we go, boys. We got it there. Now an injury timeout to somebody.
I think it's on them.
Jasir Taylor.
Yeah.
Looks like he's upset. I don't know what's injured, but maybe
you
it's
know
his
what?
head.
You know what we'll do, Sperry? We'll do a lob exception here. If you want to get a 25, another 25, alley-oop it for the tortilla slap.
We could do it on alley-oop tortilla slap.
Did we have IQ up? Yes.
Yes. I don't know. Ponzi's in charge of putting the screens together, so
I did it.
We'll see. All right, but after a nice little completion there over the middle on the dig, first down and 10, they'll put Howard under center. Play action. He's got time in the pocket. He will throw to the sideline, and it's going to be incomplete. Good coverage. DK Metcalf couldn't bring it in. Second down and 10 coming up.
Night footage says Madden nerfing Will Howard. Or you're talking about Jalen Ramsey.
I think he's talking about Howard. I think he probably wants him to be like an 80.
We're not up to the actions that the Raiders stream does here.
Shotgun here. 2-by-2 formation with 2 stacks. Now Howard with a clean pocket. Now pressure's coming. He has to just get rid of it. It's incomplete. It'll be third and very long. Jeffrey Simmons there. Maybe the best interior pass rusher in all of football.
Yeah.
Like
definitely up there.
He is insanely good.
And honestly, too, this is a revenge game, too. Sebastian Joseph Day.
So here we go. You got a quads formation out to the right with a single receiver out to the left. Howard and empty. Takes the snap. Looking. Pressure caving in. Now he's going to dump it off to Jeremy. Can he get there? And he does. First down, Steelers. Jeremy Bernard. And those are the kinds of plays, Ponzi, that I think is going to endear him, talking about Jeremy Bernard, to Aaron Rodgers. Because I think he's going to be like that. He's going to be this year's version of Kenneth Gainwell, where it's like you're just getting those quick passes, those quick screens, those quick dump-offs off to him, and he's just really smart, savvy, picking up first downs. Now here we go. Double play action, and now on the blind side, Will Howard gets absolutely destroyed. Getting too cute. Keldrick Falk, rookie out of Auburn, coming in with a 9-yard loss on the sack, second down and 19.
Keldrick Falk was one of those players. Auburn seems to have a lot of them where it's like, dude, he's just a physical beast.
And second down and 19, we're going out in the offset I formation. We're doing a 5-step drop throw. It's a nice play to move, but I don't know, man. I feel like I'd want to spread things out a little bit more, but hey, it sets up third and manageable here for Will Howard. Nice job there by Muth.
Dude, 6'6", 274.
I formation now on 3rd and 5. Riley Nowakowski in at the fullback position. 3-step drop. Howard looking for something quick. It's not there, and he gets sacked. That'll end the drive.
Looking like the Will Howard from the first half last
week.
He's
had a couple decent throws. So
Definitely
far,
been more
he's
accurate.
had a couple decent completions, but yeah, still warming up. Cam Ward liking that sack from the defense. And once again, I think we're gonna get to the end of this quarter here, Ponzi, with no score, just like last game.
Don't jinx it here, man.
Yeah, true. We have seen a blocked punt go for a touchdown against the Steelers in the season opener versus Atlanta.
Oh my goodness!
And now Cam Johnston shanks it, and now Tennessee will take over at the 31. Jeez, man. I will say probably the weakest part of this Steelers roster is the punter. Handoff here. It's going to be no game. Good defense here by Sebastian Joseph Day. He specifically was brought in, Ponzi, to be, this team's nose tackle on early downs.
Yeah. Revenge game for him, too. Well, not really.
Yeah, kind of. He played for Tennessee this past year, so good stop there by Sebastian Joseph Day. Now they go shotgun. There's a Steelers player offsides.
Oh, my
Jamel Dean was just lined up sideways in the backfield, and now it's going to be a 5-yard penalty on the Steelers. What the? Everyone type F Madden in the chat.
Dude, that's the second time, man.
Type F Madden in the chat.
And, it will do that, too. Like, this Madden particularly was the year of offsides cornerbacks.
What are we doing? Well, now it's 2nd down and 5 instead of 2nd down and 9. They go read option again. Nobody's on Cam Ward, and he's just running to midfield. 1st down, Tennessee. Can somebody get the quarterback, please?
No. It's not like they haven't ran that play before. Night footage. I would say this feels like the Mike Tomlin Steelers. Like, I changed the playbooks, but, they just still play like it.
Under center here, but yet they're still got 10 wins, just like the Tomlin teams. Now, quick throw here to Wan'Dale. Breaks another tackle. Why is Wan'Dale Robinson?
Dude, he's like 82.
He's like Bijan Robinson out there making guys miss. Picks up 6 yards.
Dude, it's crazy.
Wan'Dale Robinson is not this good. But now in Steelers territory at the 45. Shotgun for Ward. 3 receiver set. Spread out. You'll send Wan'Dale in motion, fakes the pop pass, play action, now pressure coming in. He has to throw it on the run, wide open, caught. Now he's streaking, and he's going to get all the way down to the 12. Deshaun Elliott lost him.
Who's Carnell Tate?
Calvin Ridley there.
No, it's Carnell Tate.
13?
Yeah, Tate.
He's 14, though.
I didn't change any of the other team's numbers, man. Dude,
all
that
right.
would have taken 5 years.
Guess Madden thinks, I guess Ridley is what, 11? No,
Yeah.
he's 1. No, he's
1.
0.
Wait.
Yeah, Calvin Ridley's 0.
I thought he was 1. No, yeah, you're right.
But I was so locked in on looking for 14 because that's the number Tate's wearing in Tennessee. Under center, handoff, nothing doing. Once again, oh no, Tony Pollard just ran over 5 Steelers, and he picks up 6 yards. What is this? F Madden in the chat again.
Dude.
There's been some crazy hijinks going on in this game, dog. Wan'Dale Robinson breaking tackles like crazy. X Factor Jalen Ramsey not being able to tackle. Here we go, trips left in the red zone here as Ward takes the snap. Pressure from Pittsburgh, throws end zone. Incomplete, tried to go to Calvin Ridley, and Jamel Dean knocked it away. Good play. Be 3rd down and 4.
This is a weird game right now, man.
Yeah, and when you got Will Howard at quarterback, man, I think, you want to get as many stops as you possibly can.
I mean, the good thing is it doesn't really matter.
Same formation here, trips left from shotgun. Now let's send the running back out. 2 Steelers go to defend him. Now Ward just has a wide open lane to run. Now Ramsey lays him out. I can't believe he hung on to it, but he picks up a Tennessee 1st down. Huge hit stick from Jalen Ramsey on Cam Ward. That's the 2nd big hit he's taken today, but he gets right back up. 1st down and goal from the 2. They go into the I formation. No receivers out wide. Jumbo personnel for them. They're going to hand it off. Breaks a tackle somehow. What is with Tony Pollard and Wan'Dale Robinson breaking every fucking tackle? It doesn't matter. It's a TFL. Loss of 2 yards, so Steelers run defense coming to play.
This definitely is the most amount of broken tackles I've seen Tony Pollard make the last 2 years.
Once again, condensed formation. A couple more receivers out there this time, though. Hands it off, and he's not going to break a tackle this time. He gains a yard. 3rd down and goal. I need everyone to type stop in the chat right now. Type stop in the chat. Let's go. Got to get a big stop here. 3rd and goal from the 3. Condensed formation for Tennessee. They put Mr. Cam Ward in shotgun. Takes the snap. He's looking. Pressure from Pittsburgh. Goes corner of the end zone. Knocked away by Jalen Ramsey. Tried to go to Wan'Dale Robinson, the tiny slot. Couldn't bring it in. And now let's see what Tennessee does. Do they go for it or do they take the points?
Now, me personally, I'm taking the points just because of Will Howard, but nope.
They're going out with their offense. Come on, keep typing those stops. Condensed formation here for Ward. Takes the snap. Steelers send pressure. Throws end zone open. Caught. Did he get 2 feet in? No, he didn't. Couldn't get 2 feet in, and the Steelers get the stop. Steelers take over at the 3. Let's go.
College. It ain't college, Carnell Tate.
Carnell Tate, number 4 overall pick in this year's draft. Couldn't get the second foot down.
Don't pass here, please.
And now you're in pistol. Howard hands it off to Warren. Get out of the end zone. There you go. He gets about 1 yard.
Dude, my fear is that he's going to do like a play action because Madden AI just does not know how to play call. And he's just going to run out of the back of the end zone.
Man, what has been up with the Steelers' run game? It feels like Jalen Warren in the middle of the season was like unbelievably good.
Empty.
And now they go empty on 2nd down and 9. I hope they have a quick answer for Howard here. It's in the end zone. He throws. Contested. Incomplete.
Not good.
So now 3rd down and 9. First down here would be huge. But
dude, like 4 yards would be huge.
Dude, you got a rookie quarterback or quote-unquote rookie quarterback in his own end zone.
This better be a screen, man.
Shotgun for Howard. In empty. Takes the snap. Looking to run. Oh, my gosh. Get rid of it. And it's a safety. What is Will Howard doing, bro? So instead of giving up a field goal, you give up a safety, and now Tennessee will get the ball and 2 points. Jacob Martin.
Bum.
What is Howard doing? Get rid of it, dog. What? He's like, ooh, I don't know what to do.
Don't go out of bounds. Oh, my God.
Terrible kick, and it doesn't even get in the landing zone. What is this game?
Oh, my God.
Everyone type F Madden in the chat because Tennessee gets the ball at the 40. What a joke. Condensed formation from the eye. They're going to send the tight end in motion. They'll hand it off. Pollard, not getting much, just to gain a 2.
2-0 could be our halftime score. Jesus. But thank goodness this game doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, we're just playing. I mean, this game's just playing with house money because the winner of Baltimore-Pittsburgh in Week 18 is going to win the division again. Shotgun here, takes the snap. Ward throws, caught. Wan'Dale Robinson breaking tackles, and now he's loose. Gets to the 30 and eventually is brought down.
Dude.
Why is Wan'Dale Robinson so good?
I don't know. He's the 82 overall.
Like, he's solid, but, he's not, like, this crazy yak weapon.
No. Did Malik Neighbors sneak out?
Yeah. Shotgun here, empty for Ward. Now he's looking to run, QB draw, and he's going to be sacked, brought down behind the line of scrimmage by Sebastian Joseph Day again. Revenge game for him. That's his second nice tackle versus a run in this game. 2nd down and 12. Go out and shotgun with Ward again. Trips left with a nasty receiver out to the right. Takes the snap, looking, stepping up, throws, overthrown, incomplete. We did see that a bit from Ward last year as well. I feel like a lot of people are glazing Ward, though, because they saw a lot of his highlights.
It's Justin Fields effect, man.
It's kind of a little bit of a Justin Fields thing. He was dead last outside of it. So, no, he's second to last in EPA per play.
Anyone want to guess who was the dead last one?
Shooter Sanders.
Oh, I was trying to give them the answer.
Takes the snap, looking, Ward pressure getting to him. Now he's looking to scramble, and he's going to fall forward here for a little bit of a gain. But 4th down and 9 coming up. Field goal time for Tennessee. I mean, listen, with all the bullshit that's happened to the Steelers in this game, to be pretty much, why not call timeout here? Ponzi.
No, I fixed it. It's just they don't want to call timeout.
What a joke.
They don't want to call timeout, man.
All right, Ponzi. Kick is up, and it is good. 5-0 Tennessee. The Steelers have 20 seconds left to go in the half.
Ponzi.
I'll do a special promotion here, guys, because we got 20 seconds left on the clock, and Ponzi maybe didn't increase the IQ. $20 will be a tortilla slap. If we can get a $20 donation right now before the end of
Madden
before the end of the half, we'll slap Ponzi with a tortilla. All right, touchback here, which means the Steelers get the ball at the 35. And with 3 timeouts, I mean, do you start throwing the ball down the field with Will Howard, or do you just go into the half?
Just chuck it up and pray.
Yeah, let's see. Shotgun, trips left for Will Howard, takes the snap, gets rid of it quickly, overthrows his receiver. Overthrows a running back, running a flat route.
Bruh.
What are you doing, William?
Come on, William.
2nd down and 10.
This would be almost
3 receiver set here. Shotgun for Will. Doubles right. Takes the snap. Will throw a quick slant. Open caught. 1st down, Pittsburgh. Timeout. Timeout. You're at the 40-fucking-7.
Hey.
I am convinced Ponzi didn't increase the IQ because anyone in their right mind would be calling a timeout here.
Hey,
Instead, they're going to let it run out.
Hey, man.
F Ponzi in the chat.
Allegations are I didn't put the AI on this one.
And now we go into half with no points on the board for the second straight. Wait, no, we even had a field goal going into half. This was probably the worst offensive half, and now Will Howard's yelling at everybody. That's not going to endear him to the locker room.
Hey,
how about you stop overthrowing receivers, Will?
He's too hard on his teammates like Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, he's too hard on his teammates, guys. He's not a good teammate.
Guys, redo the game. This game doesn't matter.
All right, second half kicking off. Tennessee gets the ball first, so Steelers got to prevent a touchdown here. They got to keep it within striking distance. And they're going to take it out to the 24. Good coverage from the Steelers, and that's where Cam Ward and the Titans retake over.
The allegations was Ponzi simmed these games when Sperry was out. It didn't look at them.
Hashtag investigate Ponzi. I love that, Ladome. Shotgun here for Ward. He brings his running back into the formation, takes the snap. We'll hand it off to him. And now good chase down there from Patrick Queen and his athleticism. No gain for Tony Pollard.
Sorry, Craig. No wild card implications. The Steelers are solidly.
I mean, there's obviously some, but
even
if they lose these next 2, they're going to make the playoffs.
What I was trying to say is that they're guaranteed the 5 seed, no matter what.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I forgot to say that last week. They clinched the wild card berth.
Under center, it's going to be a little jet sweep here. Tried to go to, I think that was Carnell Tate, and Nick Herbig is there to make a nice tackle. And, just a gain of 1.
Just for AFC North. AFC North is going to be the 4 seed again. Which is weird because the Chiefs have the 1 seed. They always sim well in Madden, though.
Yeah, it's Mahomes. Under center here is Ward. Takes the snap, hands it off. And it's going to be a gain of 4. 3rd down and 9 running the ball? Are you sure there's so many low IQ decisions being made here, dog.
I put it on all pro, but you have a 50-50 shot, whenever you have to click into the game, that it's either there's no IQ or high IQ.
I hate to break. It's a high snap, and it was almost blocked. Now there's a flag. It's fielded by the Steelers. Here's Weejan, who's cutting through the one time he actually looks good as a kick returner. We fucking run into the kicker. 1st down, Tennessee, on Jalen Ramsey of all people.
And
what a joke!
I think the one thing is too.
F Madden in the chat. Ponzi Gate is officially here.
Ponzi Gate is officially here.
And look at this. They're almost at midfield. 15-yard penalty. Under center is Ward. Play action. Ward has it, steps up. Now has to get it to the flat. He just throws it away, incomplete. Good pass rush from the Steelers.
Look, there's just no
all
race
of the
there.
crazy things, and everything's going against the Steelers. A safety. Well, I can't say everything. Tennessee didn't get 2 feet in, but like everything else has been anti-Steelers. Shotgun trips right. Ward will take the snap. Looking. Pressure getting in. Now he's looking to scramble. Now throws to the flat, caught. And it will be a gain of 8. 3rd down and short coming up. It's still crazy the Steelers are like in this game. Like this reminds me a lot of the Jacksonville game where it's just like low scoring all the way through. But now Tennessee gets past the 50 into Steelers territory around midfield. 3rd down and 2. Big play here. Ward looking, throwing downfield. And it's going to be intercepted. Jamal Dean. And he's running to the 50. The 40. And he gets down close to the 30 to the 31. Steelers defense with a huge play. I think that's Jamal Dean's first pick of the season.
I think it's his second. I think
maybe his second, but a huge play. And now Will Howard is already in Chris Boswell field goal range. But hey, you get this field position, you better take advantage, man.
Schulerberg.
Now Schulerberg with a 2 says, now watch this drive. We will destroy these terrorist killers.
Now watch this drive.
I formation, play action, tons of time for Howard. Throws off his back foot, and it's incomplete.
All right.
Threw it too late to Metcalf.
Let's drive the ball a little bit, Will. Let's get some oomph into the throw.
Yeah, how about we stop trying to be Raji and throwing it off our back foot here, kid?
The Titans did change their logo. It's just not a Madden.
Yeah, this is last year's Madden game, so they don't have the updated jerseys. Shotgun here. Now they're going to send a safety blitz. Howard's not ready for it, and he's sacked out of field goal range. Fuck.
No?
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be like a 60-yarder.
We've seen Boz make a 60-yarder this season.
He's missed a lot of them, too.
Yeah.
3rd and 17. That's a sack you just can't take, dog.
The pivot. Okay, hold on. Why is Will Howard playing, and why is it 5-0? 1, Rodgers got hurt. 2, I may have forgotten to change the IQ.
Ponzi Gate is officially upon us. Better make sure the IQ's up for the Ravens game.
Oh, boy, it is.
Shotgun here. Takes the snap. Howard throws short, incomplete. Great. We just wasted that entire drive. Thanks, Will Howard. Thanks, dude. If this is actually how like it ended up happening, like obviously everyone would be like so happy about Will Howard in the first game, but then this game happens. Like, dog, they're going to try the field goal. It's going to be 55 yards.
Get a roughing the kicker penalty. Why not?
Kick is away from Boz, and it is good.
And you doubted him.
Puts this team in striking distance.
What is
All they
going
need
on?
is a field goal to take the lead. Could this be a 6-5 ball? Could this be a baseball score game? It's definitely possible. Kicks away. It's going to be fielded at around the 5-yard line by Tennessee, and they've got a little bit of running room. Takes it to the 28.
Bro, am I blanking? I know I'm the MLB guy. Tennessee has never had a baseball team, right?
I don't think so. Not a Major League Baseball team.
Yeah. Lou says put Drew Aller in. At this point,
Man, it's like, why not? But here we go, 2-by-2 formation. Now they send Wandale in motion. They fake it to him, fake it to the back. Now Ward pressure on him, looking to scramble, and he's going to find a way to get 6 yards. T.J. Watt couldn't catch him. Now, we can rest easy knowing that this game is just a playing with house money game. Because if the Steelers lose, they're still going to have a chance to win the division next week on the road in Baltimore. But handoff here for Tennessee and gang tackle here from Pittsburgh. It'll be a short gain, 3rd down and 2 coming up.
So just looked it up. The AAA team for baseball for Tennessee is called the Nashville Sounds.
Okay.
Banger name.
Okay. But, yeah, just so you guys know, we do know that Aaron Rodgers will be back for the season finale.
It's just precaution.
Next week. This week he could have played, but the Steelers are keeping him out because of precaution. Empty formation. Now pressure on Ward. He's looking to scramble, and he's throwing it out of bounds. Incomplete. The Steelers pass rush gets home and ends the drive, and they will get the ball back with a chance to take the lead. Let's go. By the way, Will Howard is like not a terrible quarterback in Madden, apparently. What'd you say his overall was? A 76?
Yeah, 76. Which I feel like either A, this roster just really likes Will Howard, maybe, or B, maybe Raiders guys got into our roster.
Yeah, maybe. Kicks away, and it is returned to the 17. And that's where Will Howard will take over.
Trey Tucker.
It's got to be, you got to drive down the field here if you want to score, but all you have to do is get a field goal to take the lead. So that's nice.
Logan, I do not have the foresight to
under center. There's Warren. They got the edge, and he's going to pick up a big first down. Big gain to the 32. First down, Steelers.
I didn't have the foresight to keep track of all the stats. Next season I will. Because why not? It's easier. Because I think next season we'll have custom schedules in there.
Under center here, once again, in 13 personnel. Second play in a row. They're going to hand it off to Warren. He breaks one tackle, and he picks up 3 yards. 2 minutes left in the third quarter.
Yeah, he's got to run the football again.
I will say, for having Will Howard at quarterback, they are passing it a lot in this game. Once again in shotgun, 3 receivers set in a spread formation. Takes the snap, play action. Now Howard will throw downfield, open receiver. It's caught, DK Metcalf. Another solid gain, and a Steelers first down, and they are knocking right on the door of Chris Boswell field goal range to take the lead here in the second half. Second half, Will Howard, man. Let's go. Second half, William. Gotta love it.
Kind of reminds me of Josh Allen.
Jesus. Pistol formation here. Handoff to Warren. He finds a lane, and he's going to pick up a decent gain of 5. Successful run on first down. Love to see it. Pistol formation again, condensed with a bunch out to the right. Takes the snap, play action. Howard throws quickly, and it's caught by Michael Pittman Jr. Oh no, Jeremy Bernard makes a tough catch. And the rookie out of Bama moves the sticks. First down, Steelers. Now you're down to the 31. You're in position to take the lead here, Ponzi. I'm running the ball here on first down if I'm Pittsburgh.
Now they're going to do play action pass, the deep over the middle.
Under center. 13 personnel again. I wonder what the Steelers are doing here. Handoff. Warren picks up 3. Not bad. I'd run it again. Try and set up a third and manageable. And then let Will throw the ball maybe on third down.
Josh Allen, we're good.
Yeah.
We got Will Howard.
Josh Allen, we're good. Will Howard's here.
Credit to Schulenberg.
It's okay, Josh Allen. You can retire now. Will Howard is here. Shotgun. 2 receiver set. 12 personnel for Pittsburgh. Now Howard going to dump it off quickly to Jalen Warren. He's going to lose yardage here. Loss of 2. Good tackle there by Williams.
Oh, but they can make tackles.
Yeah, they can make tackles, but Wan'Dale Robinson is making Jalen Ramsey look like a 56 overall. Third down and 9. This is still in Boz field goal range. I would try and get the ball out of Howard's hands relatively quickly. Takes the snap. They send pressure up the middle, and he's sacked, of course, in a terrible spot. And right when you are in position to take the freaking lead, it's going to be once again a very long kick, and Jennings Dunker is yelling at Will Howard. How can you take a sack there? That is terrible by Will Howard to take that sack. You got to get rid of it, man. And now Chris Boswell will go out there, and it's going to be another long kick. But, hey, it's Boz. It's the great Wizard of Boz, man. If anyone can make it, it's him. It's going to be another 55-yarder. If they make it, the Steelers take the lead in the fourth quarter for the first time today. The kick is up, and it is good! The Steelers take the lead, and it's a baseball score, 6-5 here in the fourth. Steelers defense has to get a stop here, man. Kick is away.
Pirates take the lead.
Fielded at the 4. Buccos lead. Taken to the 29. That's where Cam Ward will take over. Steelers get a stop here. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
But Tennessee, obviously, in striking distance here, a field goal takes the lead for them. Under center here for Cam Ward. 2 receivers in a nasty stack out to the left. They're going to send a receiver in motion. Jet sweep. TJ Watt is there to blow it up for a loss of 2. And TJ Watt does the Michael Jackson celebration on him. Let's go, man. Tried to get the ball to Calvin Ridley on the jet sweep, get his speed going, and TJ Watt was having none of it. 2nd down and 12. Now they put Cam Ward in shotgun, trips left. Takes the snap. Ward will dump it off to the flat, and there's TJ Watt again. He can't get a tackle! And Tony Pollard runs for almost a first down.
Dude.
TJ Watt can't tackle Tony Pollard?
Look, man.
What are we doing, Madden? F Madden in the chat.
Will Howard.
Now they go out and goal line.
And false start.
And we get a false start. All right, I'll take that. False start creates 3rd down and 6. I mean, after the bullshit that was TJ Watt, an X factor, by the way, missing Tony Pollard from the shotgun. Ward looking, pressure caving in, throws downfield, wide open, caught. Now he's streaking to the end zone. Once again, Deshaun Elliott out of position. Touchdown, Tennessee. That's the first touchdown of the game. And it's rookie out of Ohio State, Carnell Tate. Will Howard's former teammate with the Buckeyes.
And Brett Alper goes crazy.
Right when the Steelers take the lead again. Or not again, for the first time today. It's 3rd down and 6. And now they go out there trying to get the 2-point conversion, trying to make it a 7-point game. Shotgun, Ward trips left. Takes the snap, looking, dumping it off to the wide receiver, to the running back, and he's brought down immediately by Sebastian Joseph Day. He makes another play. There we go, SJD.
Now we're in the high-scoring baseball game score.
Yeah, this is a high-scoring baseball score now. 11-6 Tennessee.
Got to be entering.
But now you got to get at 2 more field goals or a touchdown. I don't think you have enough time to get 2 more field goals.
Yeah, I don't know,
I mean,
man.
it's theoretically possible, but I think to win this game, Will Howard's going to have to get a touchdown. Now, he got 2 touchdown drives the last game versus Carolina at home. So he's due, I guess. It's going to be fielded just inside the 5 and taken to the 25.
I will say, when clutch time arrives, these Steelers quarterbacks come to play.
Yeah, that's true. Will Howard had a great second half last week, closed out the Panthers. I will say, though, the Steelers' defense in our Madden simulated season is playing great towards the end of the season. It's just the offense, once again, that's not doing its job. Now Howard has to throw, and it's going to be caught. What a play by Will Howard, getting it out in a phone booth to move for a first down. Steelers.
Type those ones.
Type those ones in the chat. Will Howard moving the fucking chains in the 4th quarter, baby. Gotta love to see it. Now they go shotgun. 2-by-2 formation with a couple stacks in nasty splits. Takes the snap. Hands it off to Warren. He's got a little bit of room to run. He picks up a solid 5 yards on a successful first down run.
Careful, DK.
Now Pittsburgh goes under center in the I formation, doubles right. They'll hand it off to Warren again, and he's going to pick up a decent gain again of 3. 3rd down and 2. 2 successful plays in a row, setting up 3rd down and short. Warren's upset he didn't pick up the first. But now you give your rookie, I guess technically second year, but pretty much your rookie quarterback a 3rd and manageable here around midfield. Jumbo formation here, so looks like they're going to run. They do. It's Dowdle, and he breaks free. There he goes. He's loose, and it's going to score. Rico Dowdle, touchdown, Steelers. And we are about to tie this ball game right back up.
Tie? They just took the lead, Sperry.
Oh, that's right. Tennessee didn't get the 2-point. I thought for some reason they did get the 2-point conversion, but no. Steelers retake the lead with 3 minutes left to go. Let's go. Type those TDs in the chat.
Got to get a 2 here.
Now, yeah, they got to get the 2-point conversion here. This is a big play. 3-step drop. Howard throwing end zone wide open. Move for the 2-point conversion. And the Steelers go up 14-11. We finally have an actual football score here, Ponzi.
Yep.
Finally have an actual football score
14
here.
14 to 11, it's a little weird.
And now Will Howard, I know he just handed it off. He didn't even throw. Wait, no, he threw it once and it was a nice throw. But then
He threw it twice. We'll give him the 2-pointer.
Oh, yeah. And okay. We'll give him the 2-point conversion as well. But, man.
The way he handed that ball off.
I will say, I was worried about a TFL. When you're lining up in goal line, like heavy personnel, and you're going outside run, you're really banking on securing the edge. And thank Christ the Steelers actually did. Now it kicks away. Good coverage here by Pittsburgh. And now Tennessee, 3 minutes left to go. Down 3 will take over at the 24.
All right, defense.
Let's go, Rico. Rico freaking Dowdle, man. Breaking this game open a little bit. Now under center is Ward. Takes the snap, hands it off to Pollard. Huge hole forms over the middle of the field. Stiff arms a man. Gets to the 44. Big gain for Pollard. First down, Titans.
Although with the low IQ.
That's true. I don't know if Ponzi, we haven't seen a timeout be called all game. So the IQ, we have seen games where these coaches let the game run out on them, including Cleveland with a chance to win the game at the 3-yard line. So we'll see. Shotgun here for Ward. Fakes the pop pass. Play action. He's got time in the pocket. Throws middle wide open. Caught. That's Calvin Ridley on the catch. First down, Tennessee. The Titans are moving it here, folks. I don't know. I don't think that this is Joey Sly field goal range yet, but they're definitely approaching it. Empty formation for Ward. Trips left.
2-minute warning.
2-minute warning in Tennessee. Come on, defense. Get a stop here. Get a turnover. Get something for me. Shotgun for Ward. Doubles left. He will hand it off to Pollard, and good run defense there. Was it fumbled? It was fumbled. It was picked up by Tennessee. Oh, my goodness. That was almost the game. Not technically because Tennessee has all 3 timeouts. But
IQ.
The IQ, I don't know. Ponzi-gate.
Ponzi-gate.
Hashtag Ponzi-gate.
Hashtag investigate Ponzi scheme.
Shotgun here for Ward. 90 seconds left to go in this game about. Takes the snap. Pump fakes. Throws down the field. Ward, open receiver. It's knocked away. What a play by Peyton Wilson. It was underthrown, but Wilson knocked it away. The uber athletic linebacker makes the play of the game to this point because, listen, man, Will Howard's done an admirable job these last 2 weeks. I don't think he's going on a 2-minute drill to win the game. You cannot give up a touchdown here. 3rd down and 10. Huge play. Ward hands it off, and T.J. Watt delivers a TFL. And I don't think they can kick the field goal. They got to go for it. Here we go. This is the game. This is the game. Can Will Howard go 2-0 as the Steelers starting quarterback? Let's find out here. They have to go for it. 4th and 13. Ward has it. Looking, throwing downfield, receiver caught. First down, Tennessee. That was such a tight window, and Ward fit it right in between 3 Steelers defenders. It was a tough catch. I think that was Carnell Tate again. Now clock's starting to wind down, but this is where you kind of hope Ponzi didn't increase the IQ and they just let the clock run out. But here we go. Got to stop a touchdown. Shotgun for Ward. Takes the snap. Quick throw over the middle. Caught. Oh. Big hit, but it's caught for a gain of 11, and now they're down to the 12-yard line. Clock continues to tick. Tennessee not using timeouts. Everyone type stop in the chat. Give up a touchdown, you lose. Are they just going to kick the field goal? Nope. But 17 seconds left. Shotgun for Ward, takes the snap. He's looking, stepping up, throws end zone wide open. Touchdown. Fucking Titans. Are you kidding me? 10 seconds to go. The IQ's probably at 0. So Steelers won't be calling timeouts. And you have Will Howard at quarterback.
You got to pray for a pass interference.
You got to pray for another pass interference. The Steelers have won 2 games off of pass interference calls like that, but man, the Steelers defense had 4th and 13 to close out the game, and they couldn't get it done.
Hey, you can blame the IQ all you want on that one. 4th and 13 is unacceptable.
Got to get off the field on 4th and 13, man. Kicks away, and it's good. That was the momentum shifter right there. The second Tennessee converted on a 4th and fucking 13, it was over. Now, Ponzi, assuming the Steelers lose this game, do you think Will Howard played well enough in these 2 games to be like, that's our guy heading into 2027?
No.
I think he's earned enough right to compete with Drew Aller in camp the following season, see which one plays better. But I don't think he's played well enough to be like, he's our guy going into the next season, if this is how it actually worked out. But here we go. Will Howard's just going to try and chuck it up. Nope, he's just going to take a sack, because why not? Timeout. Wait, no timeout. Steelers are just going to throw in the towel, I guess. F Ponzi in the chat.
Investigate Ponzi.
Ponzi gate. Ponzi gate. Ponzi gate.
Hey, man. It didn't matter.
I'm convinced that the IQ is not raised for that game.
Some would say maybe it was on purpose.
And the Steelers lose 18-14 in a heartbreaker in Nashville. But it's okay, because guess what? In Week 18 versus Baltimore Ravens, the division will be on the line. You'll be playing once again for a home playoff game. And even if you lose that game, you've already clinched a wild card berth. So
you clinched the 5 seed.
It's a fun regular season finale. It's going to be a night game. It's going to be fun, man. So, of course, we'll be doing that season finale, Madden Sim, on our next live show, which will be next Monday. All right, not Tuesday. We'll be live on Monday next week, where we're going to be breaking down everything you need to know before the start of Steelers training camp in Latrobe next week. And, of course, we'll finish out our Madden season, hopefully with a high note, hopefully with some playoff wins. We'll see where this thing goes. But hopefully Ponzi turns up the IQ in those games. So that'll be it for today's show. Thank you guys so much for joining us here. I know it was a bit of a longer show. We had a number of segments, and we had a lot of long segments today, and then we had a Madden Sim at the end of it. We really emptied the tank here this week, guys. So thank you so much for joining us here today. We still got over 120 people watching live around the world. So make sure you guys watch our weekend content. We'll have a bunch of weekend videos come out over Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We'll be back live on Monday. So until we see you guys next time, here we go, Steelers.